Well, why does that laugh feel like the holidays? That was crazy, right?
Yeah, it does.
All right.
What's that shirt you got on there, brother?
Oh, brother, this is bleed them dry, brother.
Ah,
Of course, yes, brother. Yes, I had to wear this shirt because in commemoration because I thought they were going to be like a longer series. It's only going to be 6 issues,
oh, okay.
and the 6 issue I think is like out in a couple weeks or so. So I had to wear the shirt because I absolutely love this series. It's just so damn good. What
Nice.
have you? On that note, well, welcome once again to the Fandom Initiative. We're going to jump right into it because the room's a little empty. I thought there was going to be a party going on, but I think I hear some knocking, and I think some people want to come in.
And I also smell biscuits, brother. And
And that's my
vegetables
business.
too. Biscuits and vegetables too.
I wish I was smelling a hoagie, but unfortunately I can't right now. All right, so let's get it set. Let's get it straight. The man across from me, the man, the myth, the legend, the cinema CEO, the cinema god. This is Michael Williams.
What's up, y'all?
And myself, I am the Hungry Bleak. Hashtag the Dark Star. Hashtag Nevermore. I am Antonio Pomares. Yes, I put a little bit extra on it because you got to get the people what they want. And this is the Fandom Initiative. Welcome to the Fandom Year in Review Show. 2020.
You're in review, so
Your 2020 was the original title for this episode was going to be 2020 You Raggedy, and then ellipsis. And I was like, no, I don't want to go that route because what have you. But we have a lot of people here, and I want to bring them in. I want to introduce y'all to them. And this is in no particular order because these people are all cool as hell.
we want to pull them through the portal.
Yes. On my left.
On your
On
right.
my left. So let's get him in. First person, he is the writer and creator of Route 3. This dude writes everything. He's also like Stevie Wonder. He is writing in the key of life. This man, Route 3, Chango and the Jade Obelisk, Mine to Avenge. Congratulations on getting that one back. Absolutely love it. He's written for John Stewart, the Green Lantern, and he's got everything going on. This gentleman is Robert Jeffrey II.
Oh, hey, no. No, Louis, stop. Thank you. Thanks.
I thought something was going on.
Listening to that bumping waiting room beat. I was actually dancing over here. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
But thanks for having me on. I'm a big fan of y'all's show. Big fan.
Brother, thank you.
And
We're big fans of you.
Huge fans of you, and so honored. So let's get the next person up. This incredible artist does some of the most amazing. One of my favorite pieces of art is from her. It's like this gold paper page, and it's like a mage with a skull, with like a gold skull. It's beautiful. I need to actually. I wish I actually had it on a wallpaper for my phone because it's just awesome. She is also just an incredible gamer. As far as like, if I need to know anything about Final Fantasy, I'm gonna ask her. Bottom line, and she knows where there's a good pancake spot. So you know that's got to be that counts for something huge.
And she's a Williams. That goes very far in the world.
That's a seal of approval right there. You know what I'm saying? So welcome to the room, Sha-Nee Williams.
Hi.
Oh my God! Look at this. This is awesome. This is technology. This is where we're at.
Antonio, my man, you forgot dumplings. Come on, I know the dumplings.
Oh.
You missed the dumplings. I still love you anyway, though.
I have failed this city.
Oh no!
I'm gonna be real. You know what happens when you fail the city, though, right?
That means we're gonna be canceled soon.
Yeah. Word.
The remix to Arrow.
Rest in peace, Arrow.
And that hurts. Next up, coming to the stage, this cat has one of the best eyes I can say as far as photography. I love his pieces, what he does. If I need to know anything about Legend of Zelda, I'm asking this cat. I'm asking him. He is. We've known each other all our lives, literally all our lives. If you see us together, you would think that he's like the older brother because I'm like 2'9", and he's like gigantor because he's tall, and there ain't no excuse for it. He also wants to start getting into more geek realm things and possibly creating some content, and I'm here for that because I think that's beautiful. Coming to the stage right now is Carlo Smith Ramsay.
Hello. How you doing today?
Hey.
What's up? The weather outside is frightful, but he has got a tree in the corner.
That's right. Got a little holiday spirit right there.
That is the best holiday like type of thing I can say ever. That's all I got, folks.
Thank you.
This is also the man who is over here making biscuits, and we all know how I feel about food.
Oh my God.
Diabolical.
Yep, I'm a beast in the kitchen.
And look, this one.
Instant transmission of some food, please. That'd be much appreciated.
Straight almost lost it on mic. The next person coming to stage, just an incredible light, honestly. Content creator, Twitch, YouTube, doing panels and everything, and creating a brand that is going to be just bigger than you can imagine. Honestly, I believe in her. I believe in what she's doing. She's on the right track, and she is part of the change. Remember when we used to use that hashtag, Michael?
Yeah.
We might have to bring
on a previous project.
It was a strange project, wasn't it? It was kind of a strange project.
Yeah.
Y'all stupid. I can't.
I mean, I'm thinking about it in my membrane right now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey.
Leave it to one of the best writers out there to make that line. Outstanding. Outstanding.
So
That was just like
This coming to the room and the stage and coming into your homes actually when you go to her Twitch channel. This is JOYNFINITY and beyond. There she is.
Hey,
Hello,
boy.
everyone. Yo, y'all have me dying. I was like, please don't put the camera on me while I'm cracking up over here. Lord, I'm on the verge of tears, and then you brought it back with that project. That's also in my membrane too. I was like, oh shit.
Now, I
How
just
y'all
want to say this real quick. First off, thank you all for being here. This is awesome. This is amazing. In these COVID times, to be able to do this, because we honestly before this wouldn't have been able to have all of us in the same room.
Yeah.
So thankful to to technology and everything that's going on right now, what have you, and the amount of content and meetings like this that are happening. We're able to do this, and I'm just very grateful. Thank you so very much for all of you being here. Let me also say, do not adjust your TV screens or your phones or your whatever you're watching this on. There's nothing wrong with the brightness of your screen. I have called together the Black delegation.
Gang, gang.
Okay.
Damn.
I brought together the 5 deadly venoms to.
Whoa.
Hey.
I love it.
And this is awesome. So thank you very much. We're going to do the year in review. 2020 was a lot. Let's just say that.
For lack of better words, yeah.
Yeah. And let's leave it at that. Let's leave it at that.
I think 2020 was so bad that 20 is going to have a stigma now. Like you know, like how 13 in buildings and you don't have the 13th floor. You look on the elevator, they always miss that. I think like later on, our descendants, we're gonna have like calendars that are not gonna have the year 20 in that shit. I swear to God, they just gonna be like 20 is a blight upon everything.
Wow.
True.
Well, I think one of us is going to get the power of time travel on the 21st. So hopefully they'll be able to go back and actually change what happened. Hopefully,
Get
no.
your kids, Marty.
You know what?
See, there you go now. See why you had to go and like put the
If
time
you-
travel thing in, because now it's like, okay, what rules are we talking about? Because it could be
There are
like
no
Endgame where we can't really change the past. We can just yank stuff out, to make the future better, but we can't change what happened.
It makes
We'll
things
have-
even more convoluted as they are.
we'll
Pretty much.
have this discussion on the 22nd, and we'll all demonstrate our different
My
powers.
thing is that what is up with the 21st? I know my sister told me something is aligning, and all of us are getting
Yeah.
powers or something like that.
Crap.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
there's
black
like
people.
3 planets aligning. I think it's supposed to be
Yeah.
some type of convergence. All I know is
Jupiter.
I want Bishop's
Look.
power. I think that's awesome.
To grow a
I
mullet,
wake up the
to grow
next
a
day
Jericho mullet.
with powers. I'm coming for you, and we're gonna have to figure this out because what's gonna happen. They're gonna start hunting us down.
Oh, that's
I
also
mean,
big
but what
facts.
powers would you guys really want though? Like what type of power? It can be anything from like outside of comics or just something that you think
You
of.
know what I want? I saw this on Heroes, and they never really explored it much, and I thought that was such a shame. This lady had this power where
Oh, and for those who
When
don't
she-
know, go look it up on Google. We're not going to explain it to you. We're not.
Eh.
We're not.
this lady had this power where anything she touched, she could see the history of it.
Okay.
What season was
So-
that?
Oh,
So imagine you go to a museum, you got all these ancient artifacts that are there. She can just touch it, and she knows everything that artifact went through, the hands that it passed through,
we already know what's stolen.
events. So
Of course.
look, that's all I want, because then I would just go to museums and stuff like that. I would just learn so much shit. And then I'll be like, yo, look, y'all need to do this, this, and this for me, because I know what you did. I know what that is. I know what this is going to be.
Mhm.
I'm busting a Killmonger. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to tell this. So you think this is from where? No.
No. For me, telekinesis or teleportation.
Ooh.
So telekinesis, which you can find in Route 3. Actually, damn it, I can't point to the right area. Whatever. In the comic book above my head to my left. Telekinesis is used quite often in that. So but yeah, telekinesis or teleportation.
That's a very nice Easter egg, sir. That's very nice.
Oh, I was ready for it. That's why my big head isn't covering me. I'm like, hey, let's talk about everybody. Yeah.
Nice. What about you, Joy? What do you got for powers?
I would love to have time manipulation because my black ass be late to everything. So I just need to come correct and have that. If not, it would be the power of cooking because, I also don't do that. But other than that,
no. That is, you already have that ability. It just hasn't been unlocked yet. You got
big facts.
you got our
You got to
blood.
go with that.
That can actually happen.
You got to go with that X gene.
I can read recipes and stuff. I can do stuff. I just have the power of laziness because I'm a Taurus,
Well, if you had time manipulation, then you could just learn to cook in that time that you freezing.
Bam!
There you go.
It all goes back to time manipulation. So yeah,
Oh,
I would do
You
that.
said cooking. I thought you said cloaking. I'm dumb over here. I was like, what is cooking? What does food have to do with
Oh, I know.
cooking? I'm slow as hell.
No, I'm already a ninja, so I already have that
Okay.
down thanks to my mom because
Oh, what? Yeah, let's not even.
she be sneaking. I don't even hear her in the room. I'd be like, "You've been here the whole time?" She's like, "Yes, I've been here the whole time." I'm like, "Oh shoot, okay."
And no, not only that, then she would look at you like, "Why do you need to hear me? Like, you
Right?
just heard me. Like, this
Mom.
shouldn't be a surprise."
I learned my powers from her, so
I
black
think
woman
And that's how you get
with
snuck.
my grandmother too. Like I'll walk in a room, they won't hear me. He was like, "Where did you come from?" I came from nowhere.
right?
So Sha-Nee just told us that her powers activated very early in life, apparently.
Yes.
And I'm
Okay,
honestly a
powers.
little scared. And I'm a little scared and afraid. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm a grown ass man. I'm a little scared and afraid.
Look, be afraid.
I think mine's
What about
would be like controlling the weather or energy manipulation.
Ooh.
Like that. Something along those lines. I don't know. Whatever comes.
No. She's like, yeah, whatever power I got, whatever. I don't care. Whatever. I'm like,
Let's make it work.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make it work, whatever it is.
Listen, man, I'm an Aquarian. I adapt to almost everything. So I was like, whatever.
Love you so much. Love you so much, Aquarius over there.
Whoever's dealing out the powers, do not give her the powers of movie Darwin. Do not. Please do not. Do not give her those adaptive powers.
Yeah.
She just said she adapts everything. Don't do it. We're not going to get into it. We don't have no.
Rest in peace. Yes.
Oh man. Yeah, don't give me those powers.
Another reason to not eat pork is Darwin was killed by bacon. But Michael,
oh my God. I'm gone. That's it.
Nasty.
Gone.
Oh my God.
All right.
I
Slaughter.
can't with you.
Can't.
I'm greedy, so I want everything. I want to be like I want to be Siler, but way less psychotic.
Oh, my husband.
Way
Yes,
less
Siler.
psychotic.
Yes, Daddy.
Yeah, that's it.
Come through.
Like I'm trying to look down, like she's sitting in the box under me, like it's like Hollywood forever.
It's appropriate that I'm right below you too. Like
Right, exactly.
he gonna give me that dad face every time.
Yeah.
Oh my
It's a
God.
second Heroes
Tyler.
reference.
Yeah.
That was my favorite show until recently.
Oh my God. Karen, I'm sorry.
What happened? What I missed?
Leonard Roberts was Karen out of the TV show.
Big facts. And I noticed it
by
when
Allie
I was watching.
Larder. Yeah,
that's her name. Yeah.
Yep.
Also notice how they kept stealing comic book storylines. But Mike, what were your superpower? Oh, you just said it. I'm sorry. I'm so slow today. Like, what is wrong?
The seasoning on this show is amazing.
At all.
The ancestor said, "Season it. All right, you're good." Me, I would either go with Bishop, like I said, because I think being able to store energy and then redirect it, the amount of things you can do with that power is amazing because you can store it and pretty much you could become immortal by storing all the energy, being able to redirect it. Or, and this is going to be odd for a black man to say, but I would like Iceman's kind of powers.
Okay,
but
I see where you went there with that.
There actually is a character from Far Square Studios who is actually Panamanian, and he has ice powers, and that immediately drew me to that character. I'm trying to remember. I want to say Squadron. Have to look up the name of the actual team, but it's cool. But either that, but I think honestly, Bishop's powers are just the coolest ever. And even if I can't, and you know what, I could actually use that energy manipulation in store to actually grow out that mullet. So yes, Robert, I will take it.
Hair growth.
Yes, I will. He had the juicy locks too, like he had that, like that.
Yeah, he had that flowing, so glow curls at the back.
Was he leaving Scott when people's living room chairs?
He had that, right?
Aww.
But the back of his shirt was juicy. Like he had
you saw that. You saw
all the juice was back there. This is not your mama's geek-oriented content.
No.
Not at all.
Oh, and if your mother is watching, hello, Shanae's mother. Hello. That's awesome.
Mom.
I heard that my sister texted me. She was like, "Oh, I'm watching, but I'm watching through your nephew's account." I was like, "Okay, that's great. At least the whole
that's
family."
Awesome. We appreciate it. Thank you.
The family affair.
Yeah. So 2020 was crazy. It was a lot going on, and the world kind of stopped at a point, which is weird. Life really did change as we know it. And even we stopped as far as doing our previous podcast, YouTube show. Everyone was in like this flux. You didn't know where you were going. You were going to work, but you didn't feel like if it was necessary, if it was real to do. Some people weren't going to work. Some people were in a holding pattern in life. And then we got the term essentials, which was great. And I'm sure somebody's going to be put that in some type of sci-fi novel or what have you, because it started being like this weird class system. And I could already see the wheels turning in Robert's head. And I dig that. And content stopped. content changed, content evolved, content creators stopped, content creators evolved and changed, did things different, stopped doing what they were. There was just a lot of change in the air. Comics stopped. I mean, not being created, but stopped being put out. You didn't know what you were going to do. We were all trying to figure out. Movies stopped.
Yeah, movies kind of still stopped. I mean,
Yeah.
right now it's kind of crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
AMC I think is fighting now with who's behind Dune and
Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers.
They're fighting because they want these production agencies are now like, yo, look, we're just gonna put it out there on stream, and AMC is like, yo, what the hell? Hey, everybody got to eat, but
And that was the thing is like you're trying to figure out how am I going to get my product out there, and from indie creators to the powdered wigs at Marvel and DC. And I'm going to keep using that term because I actually like that.
Okay.
Even that now, and I actually like it. So everything changed, and starting to like catch up now with things. Comics was off for like, well, not like indie pretty much because a lot of you were publishing and printing your own stuff anyway. So you guys were kind of good, but still in that holding bubble. But then the world changed more with turmoil, racial turmoil.
Yeah,
we had a lot of angry episodes on Strange in the Membrane, which was the previous podcast we were doing. But again, it was evolved. We changed. And how we are is, yes, that one message came through to us that we needed to figure things out.
Amen. Thank you, Jesus.
We needed, nothing fazed me, and we needed to find our way again. I don't get fazed. And here we are to talk about this year of we ended up stopping, but then we got all these great content of comics and movies and TV, things that came out on streaming services, things that were digital, because that became a new avenue for people to embrace even more. So let's get the elephant out of the room, because we're all Black. Let's talk about Lovecraft Country.
Yeah,
this was that treat that we needed at that time. It came out at the perfect time, oddly enough.
Yeah, seriously. With everything that's been going on.
I'm actually going to just admit that I haven't seen it yet. And
Big facts. Me too. I have not.
I haven't.
Like you turn around.
Max right now, but I'm gonna try and get it for Wonder Woman because you guys know how I feel about Wonder Woman. So yeah.
I was also very scared.
I'm gonna watch it anyway. But,
y'all ain't gonna. There's so much stuff out there to watch. That if there's one thing, there are many things that I haven't seen that everybody goes on every week to say, "Hey, have you seen it?" I'm like, "No, I haven't." So,
okay, well, look, I'm just gonna.
Like, no, I haven't seen it.
Since we're admitting things that we haven't watched, okay. So the one thing that I haven't watched yet, and we can go back to Lovecraft after, is The Wire.
Oh, I haven't either. I never seen The Wire.
I haven't.
Are we truly Black?
No, you won't get killed on that.
I haven't.
It's all on HBO Max. Okay. That's what I keep telling people. It's all on HBO Max.
Yeah. It's I've seen like one episode and it was really good. I just never went back to watch it.
It's like it doesn't have you come back.
Exactly.
Like
not like Lovecraft though. Not like Lovecraft.
It's not like Lovecraft.
Once that came in, it was just like, yo, look, come here.
that first episode hit so hard. Like people, like I know people had to go back and watch it. Like I watched it maybe 3 times because I was like, let me just get into what's there.
That was so good that I actually was interested in their podcast, which is rare for me. Like I'm super picky with podcasts.
Shout out.
There's only a select few that I actually listen to. You two, you know you are. So it was like when I saw, I'm just like, yo, let me check this out. I'm like, wow, it was really good.
We all like it was just such a crazy, and the mix of the horror, the sci-fi aspect.
Yes.
Wrapping, yes, wrapping that into along with history.
Yes.
And that feeling that we all had, and it was a cathartic kind of.
Well, so the fact, first of all, I'm very proud that the show was filmed down here in Georgia, and for us, for us, it's another example of Georgia becoming like the Hollywood of the South. Unless the conservatives down here mess it up. And Afua Richardson's connection to the work, and many like actors and stunt doubles and stagehands and everybody who Atlanta-based people or Georgia-based folks. I was proud as heck of everybody. But from a creative perspective and as a fan, this is the stuff that Antonio, every one of us knows has existed with certain writers and artists and comic book writers, and like we continue to tell our stories in these speculative fiction places, while the larger America, when they get a hold of something like this novel, which I know a lot of people are going to say was written by a white guy, but the creative forces in that writer's room, it was black as heck. You could tell that it was black. So these are the stories that we have continued to see in indie and in some forms of places with mainstream that are being told. But when you see it kind of brought to life, it becomes it's beautiful. Like that first episode, the monsters didn't show up until I'm sorry, spoilers, until 20 minutes until the end. But the true monsters in that.
Thank you.
We could all relate. People older to us could relate to that. That amount of hate and racism and spite and vitriol, and even now, that there's stuff that we could relate to now. But it was just that snapshot of. People kept asking. I'm sorry, we weren't asking, but other folks were like, "Sundown towns." I'm like, yes. It's not just in the South.
I'm so glad you said that.
Because it's not just in the South, because there are places in the Midwest and Middle America and California and upper in the Northeast where you don't want to get caught because you were anything except a hetero white person. So let's just be straight.
Or what they used to call them, wasps.
Yeah, and if you watch that first episode, the supernatural elements of that whole thing outside of the opening sequence are kept to a minimum until they hit that, the whole, wrap up the whole, thing with the sheriffs and stuff and whatever. So that set the vibe for that entire series for me, and I loved it. So, shout out to Misha Green first.
Yes.
Second, Jordan Peele, and then third, J.J. Abrams, because everybody kept referring to that as a Jordan Peele show, and I was just like, no, that's not. That is not his. First and foremost, he is not the showrunner. Misha Green is, and go back and do your homework and watch Underground. So,
yes. That was
the same thing. So
that was our first time, Underground, which I think still might be on Hulu.
It is.
And it's 2 seasons. I want to say.
Yeah, 2 seasons.
Another thing, my Hulu list to watch. Thank you.
Yeah, I have to watch that too.
Yeah.
We will be giving a compendium later of things to watch, things to read, and things to eat, obviously. to go along with your watches and your reads.
I just want to say something real quick. Carlo, my man, DS9.
Oh,
I told you.
I'm so sad that, because I watched it when I was younger, but the way the TV shows were back then, where it wasn't real consistent with their episodes, they'll play one episode and then they'll play another episode that happened way later and all of that. So, I didn't finish it yet, but I'm like, this is super underrated. Why is nobody really talking about DS9? I'm on.
Look, DS9 is like that
all time.
And you know which one is also like that? Discovery.
Yeah, that's the one I'm leading
Discovery is in the same tone as DS9. Super underrated. Super like, but DS9, you're going to. I just can't wait until you get to literally the last episode so we can talk about the one thing that I always
cry.
Yeah, you might because
I kind of did for Next Generation, and I didn't even see all the next gen movies, but because Hulu had them at one point, and then they just took all of them off, so I was only able to see one of the next gen movies. But it's the same thing with Generation 2, where again, when I was younger, they only played a couple of episodes, and that with Voyager 2, they never played the whole thing. So I'm happy that I'm able to see everything. So
for some reason, DS9, I remember watching the series, and then I never saw it in like syndication or in reruns. But I saw like all the other ones a lot.
Yeah, like we missed out on so much. And I'm watching, I think I'm about to hit season 5. And
the Dominion War.
Oh,
and so many issues into like the light where it happened back then, but it's still prevalent today. So it's like this whole show is
look. The Dominion War, just a little spoiler, the Dominion War, I want to say, is almost like what's going on right now with D2.
Exactly. And that's why I feel like it's a little underrated, because these are issues that, other shows wasn't really talking about back then like that, to that extent, in such a creative manner.
Yep.
It's like, okay, what happened if we're in space? We're still going to have the same issues. That's what's going to happen when we start traveling to space.
The only thing I'll say about the Dominion is white lines.
I hate you so much.
When you finish the series, watch the documentary.
Yeah, definitely. I know they have one. I have to check it out.
Yeah, and I'm actually reading a omnibus of novels which pick up immediately after the last episode. So they get more into Bajor joining the Federation, the aftermath of the Dominion War, and DS9 was ahead of its time. And just as much as people hate, apparently the Star Trek fans hate Discovery, that's how DS9 was treated. When the show first came out.
They hate Discovery?
Man, I mean, I don't pay like a lot of attention to it, but a lot of people
better get on board.
Yeah, a lot of people.
But do you notice the hate, and then you see the main character? Do you guys notice that?
Yeah,
you got the hate for DS9. Then you see the main character, the main commander that became captain. And then Discovery, I don't know the story of Discovery.
Well, if you're going to say it like that, then when you get to the end of DS9, we're going to have this discussion again.
Yeah, we need this discussion, because it's like, I noticed that you guys told me that it was a lot of hate and it was underrated and stuff. I'm like, well, kind of look at who's the main character, like who is the main man running things. And he's an awesome man. He's a beautiful man.
Beautiful man.
They're okay with Jim Kirk, right? But
I remember him from back in the day. Was found from Spencer for Hire, man. He was that guy. He was as a kid. He looked at him. He was like, "Yo, this is who I want to be." Like just straight up, everything, just like.
Yeah, because his acting is such grace. It's like even in the first episode,
swagger.
Yeah, like
intelligence.
He carries himself.
Only he could punch Q in the mouth, and he was like, "Yeah, I ain't coming back no more."
He never came back. He was like, he said, "Let me go deal with Janeway."
Yeah, let me go back to Picard. Let me go totally.
Yeah, right.
Picard wouldn't do that.
Janeway, where are you? But he wasn't having that. He was like, "Yo,
it's like I'm done."
Yeah. Lovecraft Country changed a lot of our thought process, and hopefully, I'm really hoping that it inspired some others who were like looking to maybe get into writing or acting, what have you, inspired them. And I love seeing the actors that were on Lovecraft spinning off into other things and more genre work. And we're going to be seeing them in the next
year. Who's going to be king.
Like they all are in these big projects now. And I love that. I love how that was such a great vehicle for them and something that you can go back and watch, and it'll still like you could go back a year later and watch it and go, damn. And I recommend watching that along with Watchmen. Watch them together.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
That is another one I haven't seen yet.
Because
I have to keep watching that.
I haven't, man.
Oh,
Look. 2020 has been real.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've only seen the first episode.
Like
that was
right
it.
now, this is like, you know, knock on wood that nothing, because like, you know, the wife alone has been in the hospital like 5 times, 6 times this year. And like I said, we started off with burying her mom. So
yeah.
It's 10 episodes also, right? Well, right? I want to say it's 9.
9 or 10.
Oh yeah, yeah, 9, that's right. That's right. And you'll watch that first episode and you'll automatically get caught up into the second. By the time you know it, you've watched about 3 or 4. The way it's I want to say that Lovecraft Country is like the spiritual successor to Watchmen. Not in storyline, obviously. They're not connected like that, but the fact that you're getting this continuation in Watchmen, you're getting the lead character is a Black woman. I want to say a sanctioned vigilante, if that is even possible. I don't know. Just because just the term vigilante alone just means it's not really. And then in this next story, you're getting these Black characters doing fantastic, amazing things, and you're getting this incredible Black female quote unquote lead, because at a certain point you start seeing how it works, and just awesome. So I want to say it is kind of like a spiritual successor, because you are getting, again, representation. You're getting a great story. The whole vibe is just But watch Watchmen, then watch Lovecraft Country, then watch them like episode for episode, and just dive into it. It's great. What are some other stuff that hit y'all as far as 2020? Like stuff that was like, oh snap, this is really hot. Like throw out a series, a movie, a book, a song, even hell, a game.
That I was gonna kind of double dutch in with video games, which is weird because I'm a casual gamer, but this year there were 3 games specifically, and I'll make it quick, that I think kind of got me through the pandemic. The first one, shout out to my childhood, shout out to Saturday mornings, waking up, running this game with my brother. Streets of Rage.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I like how me and Joy were like, oh yeah.
Yes. The new one. You got the new one.
The new one. The thing for that, and like I said, I'll try to make this quick. Streets of Rage 4 have been something I've been looking forward to since it was announced, and I think it was like a couple of years. But when that game came out, it just kind of took me back to when things were a little bit simpler, or just fun. So that, I know that there are kind of criticisms of the game, and like I said, I'm not a big gamer head, so maybe there are things that I'm missing. The only thing I wish that they would release would be downloadable characters for the villains or for the bad guys, and then also online co-op for up to 4 people. Those are the only
that would have been the choice.
But that took me back, and the animation, the background scenes and art is beautiful. The art that's what I was going to get to, because the music is so, like, there's a composer with those original 3 that his work is so like well known within video gaming circles.
Nostalgia.
For them to even kind of touch that, I felt was going to be very kind of daunting, but I felt it worked. So Streets of Rage 4 was like part 1 of the games that got me through 2020. The constant updates of World War Z, because when we started having the government kind of pushing this whole ideal of like, do not go out, don't be stupid, don't go outside, don't just stay your ass at home. The developers behind World War Z made the game free through Epic, and a lot of my friends downloaded that game, and we have a squad now called Squad Z, where we just play online, and it's cross-platform. So that's another huge thing. That's another huge kind of thing that was tied into the pandemic, which was gaming related. And lastly, No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky actually received the Game Award, the Best Improved Game award for 2020 because apparently it just had a lot of problems. But as a Star Trek fan who loves space exploration, being able to just use like a bunch of just being able to explore was very kind of it allowed my mind to just kind of get away from the BS that was life and just go to alien worlds and just do otherworldly things. So those are the three things that kind of COVID related video games that kind of got me through the year. So those are but those fly so far under people's radars. I hate it. Everybody's like Cyberpunk 77, and I'm like I love it. Yeah, I love it, but these are games that actually mentally help me to kind of deal. So those are my like top three for this year.
Cyberpunk was such a letdown. Such a letdown.
I ain't get that.
So, video games.
I
would say
I didn't get it yet.
Destiny 2 for sure.
Well, they had a recent update, didn't they? For I'm trying to remember the update that was for Destiny 2 recently.
Oh,
For the Dawning.
Expansion.
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you.
It just left my mind for a minute, but yeah, it has a new expansion and it has like different events going on. Right now, it's a Christmas event.
Oh yeah, Beyond Light.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot that they do something for Halloween and for Christmas. I forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I like Destiny. They incorporate real world things into it in a way that it's playable for everybody. You know, it gives you the elements, but it doesn't definitively say, "Oh, Christmas" or Hanukkah or but it allows everybody to just be able to just take what they want from it, and that's one of the biggest reasons why that Destiny for me has definitely been a pandemic savior for me in terms of video games.
Now we have a famous gamer in the room. So I'm just gonna look Joy.
that one right there, her right there, that ninja.
She's the famous one of us.
I'm pointing right. I'm pointing the right way, right?
How am I famous though? Like
that one. Right, wait, right there.
You're doing sponsored streams, aren't you?
I mean, last time I checked, you're the one who sponsored. Last time you're the one that PlayStation actually knows exists. So,
I mean, I'm not trying to put nobody on the spot, but I'm saying Joy.
Yes. Yes.
What games were hitting you for like 2020? Like, what games were like the ones that got you through and like made you happy and enjoy playing?
So the beginning of the pandemic was Final Fantasy 14. Sha-Nee was all up in that ass with that game. She was like, look, you need to do this. And I was like, okay. So then we totally, Baby and I were playing it. I kept paying for it because I was like, I want to be in this, but I've taken a step back from it. I'm using Final Fantasy 14, or I was using it to like play while I was editing podcasts, and then I stopped editing podcasts. So I want to get back in it. I guess in the middle of the pandemic season, I was playing stuff on Twitch, and one of the games that I really enjoyed was Medieval. That was something from childhood too that they remade.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like it's so dope. I had people like cheering me on and like helping me figure out Medieval. It's what? Which one?
Battletoads.
That came back.
Yeah, right.
It came back.
That came back.
It sure did come back.
Ain't it crazy?
I like having fun.
See, I know why Antonio. I know why Antonio is doing that, because see, Battletoads is one of those. Okay, And it's funny because I actually read this article last year and I was just like, huh, look at that. Like I didn't realize it. One of the reasons why people either love or hate Battletoads is it legitimately has been classified one of the hardest video games ever made.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that because I remember as a little kid, me, Antonio, Osato, Moses playing it. We beat it. We beat the Game Boy version of it. We beat the Nintendo version of it. And we were just like, okay. And then to hear years later that it was like legitimately the hardest, like on some of the lists, it's actually the hardest, number one hardest video game ever.
That's like
but see, for me, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the button mashing. It was like Battletoads and Contra.
Contra
put me in front of that. I
Contra
would
was
stay
easier.
there for hours. And then like my son, when the new Battletoads came, I got it, and I was exposing him to that and Streets of Rage, and he's like, okay, hold up, Daddy. Can we just, put this on pause and we, I'm like, there is no save state.
Yeah.
He looked at me like, wait, what are you talking about? I'm like,
they're so
welcome
used
to the
to
real world.
It doesn't
When I was your age, if you wanted to beat the game, you sat your ass down and you played until you beat the game.
Yeah,
and
pretty much.
If you look, either you finagled away and you turned off the TV and made sure the console stayed on, or your butt was staying there. How many hours it took, it was what you was going to do.
Yep.
Mega Man 3.
Look, I exposed my son to Mega Man X on his Switch, and he looked at me and he's like, "You beat this game?" I'm like, "Yeah." How? I'm exactly.
Mega Man was just one of those such a fun game. You know what game used to kill me was Ninja Gaiden.
I was not playing that. No, thank you.
Everybody can go to hell.
And Shinobi.
No, wasn't playing that either.
Mind you, guys, this is all before the Dark Souls series.
I
ain't touching that either. Because a lot of people are saying that those games are hard, and I have a friend that is a big fan of that whole series, and he beats it like it's nothing because it's all patience. It's all patience. It's not really that hard if you're like super patient and you see what the enemies are doing. So so if you guys really want to complain, this is a list of games back in the day.
All I know is that when I saw that list of like the legitly hardest games ever made and how they were spanning from, it wasn't even by console, it was just legit just the hardest, and a lot of them was the old school classics that I did beat. So I looked at my son, I'm like, okay, look, you want to talk to me, beat these games, and then we can talk.
Oh my god!
I would have rather done taxes at the age of 5.
Wow.
with no Texas Instrument and a quill and an ink bank.
You know, when I was a kid, how I was, Primo. Okay, you put me in front of a video game, it was like I was looking at the Matrix, and I just that was it. It was just like, okay, I got it. Leave me alone.
Never.
No.
But like right now, currently, I am playing Miles Morales, and I love it.
I knew you would love it. I knew it.
I mean, because I just beat the regular. I just beat the regular Spider-Man because I put that off for like a year or two. Yeah. So once I just got out of that, I was like, all right, let me finally say that I'm playing Miles Morales. And then I did, and I am seeing so much of the game. Like, it's amazing. There's so much inclusion. There's so much diversity. His mother is speaking like Spanglish. It's just like, it's fantastic.
It's funny because when I played it and I was having such a ball with it, I was thinking of y'all. I was thinking of you and Antonio. And I was like, I wonder, and my partner, because my partner is Dominican. So it's like, I wonder how they will react to this type of game, whereas like, it's a lot of different languages being spoken. It feels more authentic. It feels like New York.
It does.
Up in Harlem. So it's like in Harlem is like that Mecca where everything is kind of happening all at once. So all like the rich culture of everything happening all at once in Harlem. So I was like, I wonder how they will react. So once you finally played it, I'm like, I want to see her reaction.
Oh yeah. The only thing that I was like minorly like meh about was the tweaks. Because I just did a what is it, like an Instagram post, and the amount of tweakage that I saw the first time playing it, like I punched this black girl in the face, she got stuck in the bushes, and she's just hanging there like a Halloween ornament. She's like,
wow.
Isn't that what happens?
You get a screenshot.
York,
You get a screenshot.
Right?
Tell me you got a screenshot.
I have the video. I'm gonna post it on Instagram, and I'm just gonna be like, when I'm done with the game, I can just send it to y'all early, whatever. But I'm just like, what is this? Like the amount of bugs and tweaks, but overall, the missions. I just did the whole bodega cat thing.
Wait, the bodega dick? Wait,
like,
the bodega cat? I'm trying to think if I did
That's
that
where you
already.
have to save the bodega cat. You have
so
to stole the cat, and the bodega
Yeah.
guy is like, someone stole my cat.
Is straight New York City right there.
Yeah,
Straight up.
But
And
then
there's
it kind of speaks to the essence of Spider-Man. Like, he's a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He's helping out the little guys. He's not
Yeah,
just
man.
beating like
Bodega
the big
cat.
guys, but he's helping his little neighbors. You know.
And
that was
he also,
Teo.
he also says that I'm like he's our
Yeah.
like there's a
Yes.
scene that you like towards the end, like there's a part where he says, like one of the guys says he's our Spider-Man.
Mhm.
Yes.
The
And
emphasis.
the
our.
emphasis, because you could tell that was all caps.
Yeah.
Like, you knew that was all
Ours.
caps.
hmm
The game, the story is much better. It flows better, and you're right. It does have a lot of inclusion from the Spanglish to the sign language
Yes.
Yes.
Love
Yes.
that. Loving
Yeah,
that.
I love that part. Yeah.
to having the big bad of the game being
Ah!
not just a
Ah!
man and stuff like that, but no.
Okay, I was like, I did not finish.
No.
Oh my god.
The big bad is so good, and
She's like,
the
stab my
the
ears.
ending is just so good. The ending is like
Like there's
great.
a reason. There's a reason, and then
Exactly.
you kind of feel where that person's coming from.
Yeah,
And
the story was written so well, and you feel like you're a part of it. Like this one really does, but at the core of it, it really is family. Family is the core of that game, and the way it's done. There were a couple of bugs that did get me. Like there was one where, for some reason, my spider sense wouldn't work.
What?
Yeah, it happened for me. Like some
Yeah.
of the gadgets weren't there
Yeah,
that I already had. Yeah.
yeah, but they were working it fine. So yeah, I mean, it works fine, everything. But
Mhm.
I love the fact that you're able, like, it's not just random missions, but you're able to actually go to like look on your phone and see like who needs help,
Yeah.
like when to go, like where to go. The game is just very well done. The suits are
Yes.
the best thing about Spider-Man games. Is you're able to change into, and I know which suit was my favorite. I'm not going to say because Joey hasn't gotten all the suits,
Yeah, not yet.
but when you see the suit, I'm sure you'll go, "That's his favorite suit."
Oh yeah.
I'm not going to say which one.
Yeah.
And it's just so like if you see the way I dressed and the way you'll know okay that's the suit that he likes. Yeah,
That's
But
it.
it's-
Yeah. I thought of you when I got one of the suits too, Antonio.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, homeboy would like this.
I felt like I had to compete because I saw that you got the neighborhood suit, and I was like, "Oh, what?" I was like, "What?"
Let's do this.
She
Let's
out
do
of the
this.
streets
I'm
fresh to
ready.
death, and I'm over here with
I'm ready.
like the homemade suit, like the suit that
Man,
goes
I'm
to bed.
always fresh to death. Get out of here.
Aaron, you better tell him. You better tell him. Inform him.
I'm a Williams. We don't back down from that.
Big facts. Williams tribe up in here. Shoot. Lord.
Let me get my edges back. Let me get my edges back. God damn.
Oh my god.
And this whole
Yeah.
time,
I kid.
I look at my Xbox and I'm like, oh, it must be nice.
Oh.
Like I really want to play the game. It's is it on PS4 or is it just PS5 exclusive?
PS4.
PS4.
PS4. Okay, so
Yes.
I don't know.
Like,
Maybe
I'm
if
not
we,
getting PS5 anytime soon. So
yeah,
That was
if-
that was the best thing about the pandemic was the fact that I can get Spider-Man Miles Morales for less than $50. I was like, what
Oh
the
yeah,
hell?
yeah, true.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is real? Like I
I
had
had
to
to double take. I had to get
Yeah.
out of the PlayStation store and back into it just to make sure I saw it
Yeah.
correctly.
That was fantastic.
That's because Sony be doing y'all dirty, man.
Yeah,
Sony
Sony-
be doing y'all dirty.
they once they caught a hold of that that intellectual property, the whole world, they weren't letting it go. And I've gotten used to exclusives because I really would like to get a PS4 for things like Naughty Dog games from the storytelling aspect.
Oh yeah.
Like as a writer, like that fascinates me. They're all the games that they put out. But then when I heard about Spider-Man, the first one, I was just like, well, dang it. There's another reason to get the system. But I don't know. Like Xbox is just kind of seeped into my blood. I think the next system we're going to get, and my wife and I is going to be a Switch.
You should definitely get a Switch. It's fun. It is damn fun. Oh my god.
One of the games we just recently got, because I'm a PlayStation disciple all day. I'm in my house.
Yeah.
Sony is her temple.
Sony. It was Sega and then Sony. So
I take credit for the Sega part because
that's all him.
That's all me. I was Sonic the Hedgehog and all that crap back then.
Yes. So that's
was
why I'm like,
from your graves. I'm sorry, Altered Beast.
No.
Oh, yes.
The latest game that we played. The latest game that we played on Switch is something called Moving Out, and it's a Team 17 game. And I'm not like, oh, it's the Switch, but that got me into like, I should play the Switch more. It's, but Golden Axe, all those things.
Switch games,
Space Harrier.
Yes,
Hyperlight Drifter.
Hyperlight Drifter. Okay.
Hyperlight Drifter on Switch.
It is an indie game that started out on the PC on Steam, and then it caught momentum and it got on Xbox, and then it caught even more momentum and it's on Switch now. And it got even more momentum to the point that even freaking Apple Store has it. It is a phenomenal indie game. It's phenomenal.
Searching it right now.
Carlo, we got a talk, man. Coming out with these indie games for the Switch I didn't even know about. And me right now.
Phenomenal. It's like taking old school Zelda, giving it just a little bit of modern day refinement in terms of graphics, and then make it a silent movie because there is no text, but the story evolves because of the music.
Oh, that's me all day. I love music games. Ooh,
yeah.
It has enough of the background music with what you're seeing, with what you're controlling, and then it's very cryptic, but at the same time, it gives you enough to keep on playing, and it's like, what's going on? Dude, if you and it reminds me, like, if Zelda, the first Zelda for Nintendo, if that never came out, and this would have been the Zelda.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Because now, even with that, they like this guy, and kudos to him because the developer of the game, Alex, I forgot
Preston. I just found it.
Alex Preston. So he has a heart defect that can kill him at any time. And in the game, he incorporates that, and you'll see how, and it's awesome. And he even played even the name of his company, he plays everything into the heart, literally.
Wow. That's cool.
So this is going to also be on the compendium. Like I said, there's going to be a list.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So let's jump to movies.
Jingle jangle.
Weird.
Yep. Jingle jangle.
Which is weird because we didn't have movies in movie theaters in essence, but we still did have movies at home on streaming service, what have you. Joy just shouted out Jingle Jangle.
I haven't seen it yet.
Good movie.
So good.
So last weekend.
It's a very good movie. Had me crying.
It's Square Root Impossible.
See, that's the thing that gets me is like I want to see movies like that, but then when you talk about that, it's gonna have you crying. I'm like, I don't want to do all that. I don't
In
want
a
to do
good
all
way.
that.
It's very
No.
good.
Look.
I mean, it's very good.
I'm gonna be on my
kinda
soapbox
makes you
right
think
now.
about
I'm gonna be in my feelings for a second because look,
World of impossible.
when
Okay,
you
here she
got
goes.
this pandemic and all this 2020 nonsense and the anger and the cops and all this stuff, I am looking to watch something that's either going to make me think or is going to make me laugh. I don't want to cry no more. Okay, I'm sorry.
But you
There's
Damn that
humor.
nonsense.
But you can think about the laughing while you're crying from the laughter.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
the
okay,
movie does have
Primo,
a lot of
put it this way,
comedic
put it this way.
You'll be laughing more than crying.
Just like how Battletoads is
Yeah.
a hard no for you right now. It's like, I can't do like I used to watch like Station 19 and Chicago PD. I can't watch any of those shows right now. I can't.
Man,
Not even Law and Order SVU. I can't like the current ones.
No.
I can't because they're all, and I get it. They're reflecting what's going on right now. But
basically, it's reminding you too much of what's happening.
I'm
Jingle jangle ain't that.
I'm out.
Yeah.
No. I get what the thing is that then you got Jingle Jangle, who is this heartwarming story
Joy's
with
face
some
had me cracking up.
with all this the lovey-dovey and family this, and then it's like and I'm like, yeah, look, I can't.
But it's a good.
You'd be laughing. You'd be laughing.
Carlo.
Crying.
Forrest Whitaker's in it.
Yeah.
You know,
New York
We need
ass.
that other end of the spectrum. We need that.
Carlo, if you
other
still want a
side.
cop show to watch, if you still need a cop show to watch in your life, watch Walker Texas Ranger. Okay.
Yeah.
It is.
God.
It is ridiculous.
No. It is ridiculous, and I remember watching it the first run.
Yeah.
I remember
It
watching.
is like if you have like
Mr. Norris.
we had a very difficult time watching Chicago PD. They were good about just kicking in black and brown people's doors and saying,
Yeah.
here are the drugs, and just spend anyways.
No. Actually,
Kind of crooked.
Because of that, because
Yeah.
of things like that, it actually, on a positive note, it forced me to make a Plex server.
What?
So I have like
Joy has the best expressions in history. Her face tells a story that words never describe. And I
okay,
love
so
that.
Joy Plex, just imagine my own personal Netflix.
Ew.
Okay.
Nigga.
And what I have on that right now, I have like, and I'm not kidding, I have every season of all the Transformer cartoons, both the American and the Japanese. I have every episode of Doctor Who from its inception till the last Doctor.
How much it cost to get on your server, bro? I'll give you some money. I'll throw some money at it. I'll throw some money to get access to that.
like pretty much I made a collection of stuff that is not on Hulu, not on Netflix, stuff that I like. And it's like I got like old school stuff, like all of Airwolf. Remember that, guys? Airwolf. Knight Rider. I got Transformers on that. I got like some movies like Caroline on it, Pacific Rim. Like it's a whole mix.
Wait, one or two?
Both.
Oh, of course. Why would you even say?
You need to take two off of that.
The second one is there's still black excellence in that. I'm sorry. It's definitely not as good as the first one.
It's not as good as the first, but
yeah, it's not as good as the first one. But Boyega, when he gives his little impassioned speech and he's leading the crew, I'm like, man, I'm black and I want to F some stuff up. Anyways, but let me before I forget the movies that I was thinking about. They were all Netflix. So Jingle Jangle was at the top of the list. Extraction. The Old Guard, because I'm a huge,
I love the Old Guard.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the comic book and the creative team behind that. But then also, but outside of that, it's weird. Most of my watching this year, like visual stuff, was TV. So those are like the top three. But Jingle Jangle kind of came out of left field, and because there is a smaller movement in novels more so. There's steampunk, but then there's also steampunk. And one of the biggest writers,
I don't know about
a
that
guy
one.
named Milton Davis. And when I looked at the world of Jingle Jangle, outside of it just being like a heartwarming Christmas movie with black and brown people at the forefront, or just everybody at the forefront, the steampunk aesthetic of it was also great to see. So because I like I said, with reading novels where there are whole worlds like this, that was cool. And I think the guy who created it, he'd had that idea like 7+ years ago. Yeah, like years. So it kind of gave me hope as a creator that, I mean, hey, it may not be immediate. But Jingle Jangle was something I think everybody, including us, needs to see. I wanted us to break. Oh no, there was one other, Canvas.
Canvas, yes.
Canvas.
I haven't heard of that one.
9 minutes, man. It's short. It's good.
Yeah. And it's like a little Pixar short. And then there was another one about a school shooting, which my wife showed me. And that, if you watch Canvas and that back to back, you're gonna need at least a couple minutes because those were heavy. But the animation, I need Americans to stop looking at animation as just being kiddie. Like these are it's a beautiful art form. But Canvas, those were the other two, and I can't remember the one on Netflix about school shootings. But I'm sorry, shout out to Netflix because they keep.
They're bringing it.
They keep bringing it.
They're really doing a lot.
And even with Jingle Jangle, they have like Felicia Rashad is in it. Annika Nani Rose, like
really?
Yes, like they're in
now I'm gonna have to say it.
They're singing. Like, it's beautiful.
The only thing I want to point out that when you see their fashions, and I kind of like looked at it, like when I was really like my partner and I was just watching it and I was getting so giddy. I'm like, oh my God, I just seen it. Like the dresses that they have is a lot of African patterns.
Yes.
A lot of Victorian era type of dresses, but it has African patterns in a way that it was so elegant in how everything was kind of color coordinated with those patterns. And I'm like, everybody's wearing it, whether they were white, brown, black, all walks of life on that cast. They look gorgeous in it. Like the suits, the dresses, everything was beautifully done.
And the shine out star for me of that movie was, I mean, obviously the little girl, because I love her all day. I'm a big fan. But like the star that I didn't think, the person I thought I was going to not like, I actually loved. And the person who I thought I would like, I did not care for. The person who shined for me was Keegan-Michael Key.
That
motherfucker can sing. Like he can actually sing, and it's funny. It's good. Underrated. And I just saw him in I saw him in The Prom just like recently. I watched The Prom. He sings in that with Meryl Streep. I'm just like, look at him living his best life. But the person I did not care for, that I was just like, oh, why is he here? Is Forrest Whitaker. Like respectfully, did not care for his like New York accent when he was talking. I was just like, my name is Geronicus. I'm like, bruh, can you just like chill?
Well,
I think the best part with his scenes is I forgot the actress's name, but the post worker, she was so thirsty.
Love her. Queen.
She was amazing.
She was all up on.
She was real thirsty. My partner and I was like, damn, she is like super thirsty right now.
He was throwing that boom boom. She was like, "Look, can you just please catch this drop
everywhere?" Like, wow, it was hardcore. It was super hardcore. We were cracking up.
The better show that you should be watching for Forrest Whitaker is Godfather of Harlem. If you haven't seen that,
I have not seen it, but I wanted. Yeah,
that show is amazing.
I like to see him.
That show is amazing.
Because I'm still with the Black Panther. Like I'm still with him on that.
Yeah,
but. This one I was like,
maybe Carlo can find that for you on his Plex server.
I hope so.
Yeah. It's a show called Godfather of Harlem with
Oh yeah, I know that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, go to him, everybody, for your viewing pleasure.
Yeah, exactly.
Give you a whole list.
Hey, you're Black.
That's not streaming anywhere.
It's on
Epics.
Epics, yeah.
Oh, Epics.
Yeah.
Okay.
I ain't got that. Hey, you're Black creative.
I think
What about you,
that did
Michael?
it for me. I think the thing that did it for me was I was watching Star Trek. That's where I really start off with.
Oh
Is,
yeah,
The Next Generation, and then I'm on DS9 now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my role is to go from there all the way up to Discovery and Picard. I also been watching a lot of like Disney documentaries as well. Like my sister got me into watching Imagineering, and I already watched all of that.
Imagineering.
And I
the Imagineering story. It's like the
yeah,
behind the
after I came
scenes
from
of
watching it.
how Disney got developed in their parks and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I saw that and I'm like, I want to become Imagineering. Be an Imagineer. So, I'm watching the documentaries and now I'm watching Marvel 616, which is amazing.
Yeah,
A couple of people I know
amazing
popped
too.
up on there.
As a black comic book writer, let me just put my 2 cents in. That Dan Slott episode was problematic as fuck. I'm sorry.
Which one? Because I only got up to like episode 3.
Okay, later on, it's basically a whole episode about how a Marvel writer makes life difficult for artists because he never hits his deadlines. And as a black person trying to break again into the industry, I'm just like, must be nice.
Yeah.
It was
letting me know. I didn't get up there yet.
Yeah.
But I think I was watching Woke and I kind of fell off a little bit about like this cartoonist that was like he had a job and then he really saw his feelings on things because he was stopped by police while he was
saw a commercial for that.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
it was really good. I kind of fell off because I was trying to like watch everything else that I already was watching. That was pretty good. And then I think my partner and I just finished watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which is hilarious. I love Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I gotta watch that.
It's really funny.
I've only watched like 3 episodes.
You know what show really tied me over for the pandemic? Believe it or not, this is the first time I've actually seen it. The Office.
I kind of fell off of that a little bit because I was still watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So it was like I wanted to finish that first and then move on to something that's a little long because I know that those seasons are a bit long.
It was a show that I always wanted to see what it was about because I saw so many people, make reference to it. And then when I did, it's like I was like, okay, but then it has a weird quality where it grew on me and it just sucked me in. I'm just like,
I think that was the whole purpose of that show. It starts off really slow and then it kind of built that momentum. I think to kind of go back to the gaming question real quick, and then we can like jump back. Aside from the shows that I've been watching, that's been holding me down during this whole pandemic, I've been playing a lot of Mortal Kombat. And I haven't played Mortal Kombat since like 9. So that's X. But it's amazing. I love all the characters I got now. Like all the DLC and everything is amazing. I see why people love Melina. Like super love her now. I've been playing 14. Final Fantasy 14. I've been playing it for like 5 years, so that's nothing new. My friend got me into Destiny, so Destiny kind of took over my life.
It will. It will.
And for the first part of the pandemic, Animal Crossing kind of like calmed down anxieties a little bit. So it's my first time playing Animal Crossing, and I just brought it to see what all the hoopla was about. And I was like, oh, this is really adorable. And then I, just kind of played it, and I went to other things, and then Spider-Man. So those are the games that kind of helped me over. But right now is MK11, Final Fantasy 14, and Destiny 2. Those are the main games. And a little bit of Monster Hunter too, Monster Hunter World. So just any game I can play with my friends in, it's been really helpful. Okay, back to the show.
Michael.
Yes, sir.
You're the cinema CEO.
Yeah, what you know.
Yeah, like just back to the movies now. Just wanted to throw that out there.
When you're on the studio, what movies are hitting you where you're like, this kid's got the moxie, this kid's gonna be a star, this movie is it? Like what, especially in a time when we didn't have a movie theater per se. What movies were hit? What movies and what series were really hitting you, and what ones do you feel like made an impact on you passing time or just hitting you in a great sweet spot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm unlike Robert, who probably primarily watches stuff on actual television. I think it just the pandemic just accelerated my, getting into streaming. Like, I went out of my way to upgrade my internet service, knowing that me and my wife were going to be home for an extended period of time, just to be able to handle the load for as much stuff as we were streaming. So, I mean, first I got to talk about The Strain that you, Antonio, recommended to me. And I watched it at the beginning of the pandemic, and it was just kind of like surreal watching that show, knowing everything that was going on outside my window. You know what I mean? Like, it was just crazy. Like, to just see how, a place like New York could be stricken with this
and that was what,
vampire plague.
The Strain?
Yeah,
The Strain.
That's another one I gotta see.
Yeah, vampire plague, and just to see like how you think in your head, if you're in an end of the world scenario, how you think it will go down versus how it might actually go down. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I mean, that show is really, really good. Like, and the only thing I hated about that show, and Antonio will tell you, because I texted him out of the blue one day after watching an episode, is the kid in the show. I wanted the kid to die midway through.
I was like, me.
Look, even though, I am a proud dad and I love my kid, but there are some kids in some of these like TV shows that you just want them to die like right now. Click, let me just go in, snap the neck, and
pretty much.
Oh God!
Because you know what? Look. Mike feels that way about that, but I feel that way about the kids in that show called Evil.
The
daughters.
I'm watching.
The daughters are sweet.
Antonio's face.
Nah, the daughters are not sweet. The daughters just, I just need to be like, hold up, look, line them up. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. Done.
The weird thing about them is they do that Spielberg style of dialogue. If you ever watch his movies, they have scenes with the families where everybody's talking over each other. And in Evil, they do that with the girls a lot.
Yes,
like represent
like
this is how
I hate that.
I mean,
and I can see how it can be irritating. I mean, there's sometimes like in Goonies. I know it's not a Spielberg movie, but it's kind of that. I know he was a producer, and it's kind of that style. But when those kids talk, it irritates the F out of me as an adult. Yeah, like they're just being stupid kids, and I'm like, well, I'm a 38-year-old adult, so
you want to take my Trinity Ghoul, be like, yo, look, hold this.
Like me and Joy are like mortified right now.
No, I would have snapped next. Like I would have snapped next. I would have recast. Like because the Goonies kids irritate. Some of them irritate me. But yeah, no, the girls from Evil was a surprise. Actually, we started watching that. Yeah, I mean, like, I was like, wow, my culture can act. I'm sorry, but
that's
hey, I'm sorry. When the best thing about Luke Cage are your supporting actors.
But okay, is that his fault though?
I don't know. I'm just sorry. Like, and then there was some problematic stuff that he said when he was at. Yeah, never mind. There's some of the people that we're rooting for with these TV shows have said and done some problematic stuff. And they're appearing all over the place. Anthony Mackie. Anyway, so I'm just saying, like, I don't know. I mean, people seem to forget about some of the stuff that these guys have said. Anyways, but Evil was actually good. I was surprised with because I know he's like the lead of that. He's actually done a real good job. One TV show, because it's funny because like it seems like there are no movies that we can kind of pull up. I turned Antonio and Michael onto this Gangs of London.
I heard about that.
I still haven't gotten a chance to see it.
I heard about it. I've seen the trailer for it. It looks really good.
It's Godfather meets The Raid. if you've seen The Raid, the director and the writer behind The Raid and Raid 2 was just like, okay, let me just make a British crime drama and then add some of the most explosive and effective action scenes ever on TV. Like if you love the fight scenes from Daredevil, and you want a kind of a TV equivalent of that, where the fight fighting gets down and dirty and bloody. This is a really good show to watch. I was like I said, that's at like the top of my list because it was a pleasant surprise.
That fight scene came out of nowhere.
Just to write down all the shows that I haven't watched already. Just
seriously, we just added. Like I thought I had a list of all the shows I haven't, and then you just said, "No, hold up."
I'm not done yet. I am not done yet.
Yeah. And I got like a
I thought that I was actually doing good during this pandemic. I'm like, I'm getting up. I'm catching up on my list. It's going down, and you're like,
nope.
Hold that.
I mean, let me continue talking about like Chadwick, who we lost way too soon.
Yes,
I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for that.
But probably two of his finest performances came on Netflix movies.
That's true.
We're talking about The Five Bloods, which is
I haven't seen
if you
that.
guys haven't seen The Five Bloods, The Five
I
Bloods is to me is Spike's homage to Apocalypse Now.
Wow.
And
you know what?
It's in that vein of that kind of movie.
Yeah.
And listen, Chadwick is amazing in that movie too.
Yeah.
But the one that I think, and I watched it last night, and
I want to see it.
I feel like he is going to win an award for this posthumously. Is Ma Rainey's Black Bottom?
Yeah.
Okay.
That looks really good.
Amazing in this film.
Yeah.
Like, amazing. I mean, everybody's great in it, including. Including Viola Davis, who everything she's in is like a masterclass in acting.
Yeah.
But his role in particular is, I mean, I don't see how he doesn't win for it. I honestly don't. Like, he's that good in the movie.
I was just listening to Jill Scott's podcast, and her talking about this movie made me be like, okay, I have to watch that. Because I saw Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I was like, oh, okay. But I didn't think about how much it would affect me and affect my culture. And then I'm like, Chadwick's in it? Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
The movie's produced by Denzel Washington.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean,
I did not know that.
It's everything that you've heard about Chadwick. Like it's the guy who had the talent that other people, who he admired, kind of noticed about him, right? Like Denzel, who sends him to school in Oxford to learn more about acting.
Yes.
The fact that I think it was even Felicia Rashad who immediately
she was the one who
and then told Denzel about him.
Yeah, she was the one who told him to go call Denzel.
And then I also read a story after he passed where he had known Angela Bassett way before they had acted together in Black Panther. He was an escort for her during Howard Homecoming or something like that.
I forgot about that story.
He was connected truly.
Chadwick is one of those rare actors who, yes, his career was short, but when you look at his career, you can't think of any other actor other than maybe, and again, that's where the inspiration comes from, right? Denzel Washington,
right?
That's had this kind of ability to play giants in society.
Gonna say this. He is the only reason why I actually watched Gods of Egypt.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
And if you put it this way, if you don't know that movie, it's okay. Okay, it's okay. You will understand. Well, I'm just gonna say, like, how you gonna have a movie called Gods of Egypt, right? And there's only one black guy.
Exactly. You know why?
Wasn't that the one where Ridley Scott was getting upset with people?
Yeah.
Like Ridley Scott was just, I think he was just like, it doesn't have to be historically accurate or some. It was some
Basically.
BS. Yeah, like I was like, come on, man, just sit several seats down.
But okay, as I said, he's that good of an actor that a movie like that I actually saw. That's all I'm gonna say.
How did he?
One set of scenes.
One would argue that that's also been something that people said about Denzel Washington. Like the movie could be crap around him. You're going to see it for him, and he raises a movie that could be absolute garbage to decent.
Yes,
Training Day.
Yeah,
Training Day.
Oh, didn't see that one.
I see that one. I see Training Day.
Training Day could have been a bad episode of The Shield, and he lifts it up. Another problematic cop show if you go back and watch it. But no.
Well, if you're talking about that, Man on Fire.
Yeah, Man on Fire.
Man on Fire
too, but it's because of Denzel.
It was,
but I gotta tell you,
I'm a fan
Carlo.
of Tony Scott.
I gotta
so
tell you,
Tony
Carlo.
Scott is
That's true. That's true.
visually speaking, like he's
That's
one
true,
of those
Robert.
things I
That's
follow,
true,
yeah.
Robert. It's a great movie because of Tony Scott. But when you think about Man on Fire, the original Man on Fire is nothing like the Denzel Washington movie.
No.
At all.
I wish you had more time.
Yes, exactly.
That's my favorite part.
I remember when that movie came out and I saw that, and I wasn't even married yet. I didn't have kids, so I didn't know what it felt like to be a parent. But when I saw that, I looked at my parents and I looked at my girlfriend, now wife. But I was just like, you know what? If somebody was to do that to a child of mine, that's how I'm reacting. That's it. And it's like it just resonated with me.
And it's funny. I think after I saw Man on Fire, I remember walking out of the theater, and I think I saw it with my brother and my mom at the time. And I turned to my brother and I was like, "This is exactly how you need to do a Punisher movie." At the time it came out, I was like, "This is exactly what you need to do."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. And then you got John Travolta. So. My favorite part of that movie is when he's being dragged to death in the used car lot, and he's just yelling and he's like, "Oh my god!" He says, "Grease!" I'm sorry.
His finest acting to date.
No, to date, because after Pulp Fiction, it went downhill. Pulp Fiction should have been what gave him that check to cash in with Hollywood again, and now I see him playing Santa Claus in Capital One commercials.
Yeah.
He is? I did not know.
Yeah,
Samuel L. Jackson, believe it or not.
With Samuel Jackson.
Yeah.
Oh no.
It's in your wallet.
Yeah.
Not talent.
I don't.
I think the other thing that streaming has been able to do in the absence of the movie theater experience is that it has allowed stories to feel a lot more theatrical, and it's allowed these streaming services to kind of develop IPs for the future. Like Robert talked about the Old Guard and
Extraction.
Extraction, and Antonio and I have talked about HBO Max. I still have some slight issues with how they do their content curation, but there is a particular show on there that has not been named as part of the Alien universe, but could easily be an Alien sort of offshoot, and that's Raised by Wolves.
Yes, I was wondering about that.
And that show is beautiful.
Yes,
like it's we had somebody
I haven't
actually
finished it yet.
Yeah, we had somebody write a piece on it for Black Sci-Fi, blacksci-fi.com, which is a very interesting look into it. But if you are a fan, first of all, if you love science fiction that makes you think, it's something to watch. But it focuses a lot, like in Deep Space Nine, on topics of religion and faith. And technology and the melding of those two worlds. But in this case, because we're living in the environment that we're living in, where fundamentalists, Christianity is a huge thing in this country, it hits hard. harder than I thought Ridley Scott was going to go in. Like I'm critical of him, but I also love his stuff when it's done pretty well, done really well. But yeah, it was and the guy that plays Father in that, really, really good. So that's what I want these streaming services to do: make content that we cannot find on network TV.
Yeah,
like because
exactly.
Yeah, that'll make me. This will make me give up cable, and I think we're getting closer to that.
Yeah,
I think.
I mean, look at what happened with Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah.
Because I mean, for those who was following it, they're in season 3 right now, but on TV it's season 1, and it's because of the fact that like CBS when they came out with it, they was like, okay, we don't know how this is going to be, so we're just going to put it on our streaming service. Because that's what Star Trek Discovery started. It started a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, where
3 years ago.
it was CBS All Access, and I had like a pass for that, so I had started it back then. So everybody's going crazy over it now because CBS is like, yo, we're in season 3, we got a following, let me just broadcast this now, and everybody's eating it up, and CBS is like, yeah, we already know you're gonna eat it up because we're on season 3. You're just getting season 1 right now.
Right.
No, it's funny that you say that because I know Disney, after the pandemic started, Disney started picking up a lot of musicals. And I did watch Hamilton for the first time. I know that.
Oh, me too.
Yo, it's a very good. At least the original cast of it is very good. I've been here. I've been in New York all my life, and I don't remember ever going to a Broadway play besides Aladdin. Aladdin was really more recent for me, and I'm like I'm in my early 30s, so it's like this is like my first Broadway play of going to, and that was Aladdin. Because I feel like it's mainly meant for tourists because these tickets are expensive. So, and Hamilton, I wasn't thinking about watching Hamilton back then because again, me as a New Yorker, I'm like, it's for the tourists. Like I'll watch
and those Hamilton tickets had got sky high.
Yeah, like I'll go see it eventually, but when I'm watching it, I'm like, this is making me, and I'm already into history as it is, but is making me dive more into who this person was and what he did for our treasury and all these other things like that I already don't know about. And it was a lot that I didn't know about because they only textbooks only teach you but so much. So in school. So when I watched it, I'm like, yo, this is hot because it's mixing a lot of hip hop with classic musical, and then you have so many comedic moments. So many moments where you might tear up but then if you know history, these things happen, but it's just the way that they kind of acted it out makes you like feel real sorry for these characters. And then after the play, you wonder what happened to these characters because they only tell you what they did, but they don't tell you the aftermath of what else they did that wasn't so big like that. With what did he do after he shot Hamilton? What did he do after that? Did he go straight to jail? Did he do all these other things? Was he barred from his position? Like you want to know what these things happen. Like Hamilton's wife, what did she do? Like they only took place on that towards the end. But then you find out later on, if you do your research, she did the orphanage. She was a part of the Washington Monument. She did a lot of things in his name. So, again, these are things that schools don't really teach. So it's like, even though everything happens in Jersey, apparently.
Dang, Jersey.
The murder.
Murder. Like I like plays like that because not only I'm into history, so I like plays like that where it makes my mind open up and see like, okay, what did happen after all of the main stuff happen? What did these people go through? What did these people do? And it's just really interesting how they made it into a Broadway play. Like, some things may not have been super accurate, but come on, it's a 2-hour play. You're not going to get all of that information in a 2-hour play. So it's up to you as the viewer to really look at history. Like if you're interested enough to really read about these people, then go ahead and do it. It's opening that door for kids that are in school now. They can learn about this person, learn about the people that he fought with, and and all that. And I didn't know about the people that he fought with. And one of them was for ending slavery before he tragically died. So it's like, it's like, you're just learning all of these things, and it's opening that door for other people to learn more about these figures, these actual people. And I just want to bring that in there.
Well, no, I mean, and then for me, there's been a lot of criticism against streaming services. Like, it's getting to be too much. There are too many, this and that, and this and that. My thing is, as long as I feel that I'm getting what I'm paying for, then I'm good with that. And so when Hamilton popped up, like down here in Georgia, I know that tour probably came down here to a theater we have called the Fox Theater. I'm not into theater like that. It's not a bad thing. And then also, I don't have the money. So when I heard that Hamilton was coming to a place that I could just easily go and just get a tray, eat my dinner, and watch and enjoy, call my house. That's
exactly what happened.
Like, people are like, what do you do on Friday? I go to a club. It's exclusive. You need a key to get in. It's called my house. I'm like,
experience.
With paying what I pay for Disney, in addition to being able to go watch Star Wars, Marvel.
Oh, don't get me started with my Mando.
You basically have a whole movie theater in your house, in your bedroom or your living room.
It's an entertainment service, and there's such a variety of stuff that you have. So Hamilton, once my wife and I finished that, I bought the soundtrack. Disney, not even Disney, you got me, Lin-Manuel. That's one of those things. And even as a history major, half of those guys up there were problematic as F. I mean, it just is what it is. The presentation of that story through the viewpoint of Lin-Manuel was huge. There's R&B, there's so much soul in that music and storytelling. That some of it was just beautiful. I mean, like one of the songs that kind of speaks to me is Theodora, and then there's the other one where it says like you write like you're running out of time.
Yeah,
that's
my God.
And that's so, like, when it comes to me and my writing, like, people keep asking me, like, why do you keep doing so much stuff? It's just like, first of all, I've never had this opportunity before, and second, there's a sense of, and this is getting a little darker, but for me, there's a sense of fatality behind, amongst, like, we're just kind of existing in this world, and if I don't get my stuff out, nobody will know. So when I heard that song, I was like, damn.
And considering back in those times, a lot of people died even before they hit 30. So it's like, you got to hit that door running
early.
You got to make your mark.
Super early. Like,
you got to shoot your shot, right? Isn't that what they say?
Yeah.
It was, but
shot.
Hamilton was a pleasant surprise. I know people saw it before, and they were like, "Oh, I saw it before." I'm like, "Well, okay,
not me.
I'm good."
I think yesterday I was working on an art challenge for a college group that I'm in that I just got recently added in this chat where all the artists from this gaming group I used to be in back in college. We were doing a challenge of a 90s kids show. Like, you choose the one that the person that gave the challenge, you choose from the shows that they give you. And I can't say because one of them is watching, so I want to surprise them when I add it in. But I was working on that, and I was listening to the whole Hamilton playlist, the whole thing, and I'm in here singing it and rapping it and all of that. It's like it's one of those albums that you keep listening to, and it's a musical. That's the funny part. Usually I listen to other things, but like jazz and all of that, but musicals like that doesn't happen very often. I think the closest thing that will happen to me listening to something with that regard is Disney. Like the Disney movies like Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Princess and the Frog. And like I'll listen to those songs because that's something that I grew up with. That's something that, is so ingrained in my brain. So that's one of the things I will listen to. So when I'm listening to a musical like Hamilton, I'm like, I feel it. Hey,
it's hardcore, man.
They're good songs. I mean, they're good songs. I think the closest musical wise that I've come to that has been West Side Story. Like West Side Story West Side Story, and I'm looking forward to that coming. I think that's next year. There's another. Yeah, the Heights, but they also did a remake of West Side Story with Steven Spielberg directing. So I've been waiting for that for a minute. But that's the only other musical that hits as hard for me as Hamilton does. And that's some like lofty goals. That's a level that I don't think many musicals have been able to reach for me. So
I will throw in the musical Aida because I saw that when I was young. I was just screaming Aida yesterday when I was like sitting here and doing the Instagram stuff. I was just singing like it's the oh my god, it's the song, and I wanted to do a TikTok about it, but clearly I'm old. But it was the song where she's like, you know nothing about me and care even less. Heather Headley, how could you understand our emptiness? When it's talking about her being taken from Nubia to go to Egypt, and then she falls in love with a white dude, and he's a Radames, Prince Radames, and all that other foolishness. But that type of thing, like that was written by Elton John and Tim Rice, like two white dudes writing on the point of view of a black princess, African princess stolen from her land to be a slave, and then they fall in love and they do the thing, and then the white girl's like, what?
I think that's the thing, though. Is like for me, it's like I always like musicals. It's just I never had the money to go to them because they're expensive. Like I think I know Dreamgirls came out way before I was born. I know like in the late 70s, early 80s. I was born in the late 80s, so I never got a chance to see it in production. But I know the movie came out, and the movie made me want to look back into to see if there's any like recordings of the cast doing the play. You only find like little snippets here and there, but it's just amazing how you see the movie, you get interested in watching the original stuff. So, and that's what got me really into musicals. Is just again, I don't have the money to really go and see them because they're so expensive, or you find ways to watch. I have a friend that's into musicals and she finds ways to watch it. Like she is good. Like she finds ways to get her ticket, how to like where to get it, not where to get it. You get it from the place that you get it from on Broadway, but it's more like her getting it at an affordable price and stuff like that. But she loves musicals, so me and her talk about it most of the time. But it's just amazing that a lot of content's coming out now and is making you really interested and really diving deeper into the production or the story that it's telling. Because it's like you have Aida, then you have The Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, Cats.
Oh my god! Beyonce had her.
Like Anastasia's one that I want to see because I love the movie, but I also know the history. And they actually have a whole documentary of the actual Anastasia and her family on YouTube. It's like a 2-hour long documentary. And it's very dark. Yeah, it's a very tragic story. Yeah. I mean, Fox, kind of women, did a musical thing to it. Like they gave it a happy ever after in the Fox movie. But in real life, it was real tragic.
They just added Anastasia to Disney Plus too.
Did they?
They just added it.
I thought that was a Don Bluth one, but
they just put it on there because it looks like it's a Disney movie, and then I was like, wasn't it? And then they're like, no, it's not. And then Disney Plus bought that shit. They're like, here.
Like once Disney bought Fox, it was game over. Disney had everything Fox related.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what. Okay, yeah. So
and as someone who's a huge Star Wars fan, I would be remiss in not talking about The Mandalorian.
We're not going to mention.
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay,
we're not going to talk about the ending. We're not going to talk about the ending at all. But The Mandalorian has done more for Star Wars in 2 seasons.
He's clapping.
Than the most recent trilogy,
He's muted,
which I'm a fan of. There were some things about the last trilogy that were problematic, but I, for most part, was pleased with what they tried to do. But The Mandalorian is just on a whole nother level. Even with season 2, it's a whole nother level.
I think that'll be the only show I would watch Star Wars related because I'm not really into Star Wars like that.
Yeah.
But I did watch the animation one where Ashoka, that's how you say it? seen that.
Yeah.
Then you'll want to watch The Mandalorian.
Well, I
And
was gonna
I
say,
know that Rosario Dawson is going to be Ahsoka. So I was like, that makes me want to watch Mandalorian. But
Yes.
the movies themselves, I tried to get into it, but everything is so everywhere. So it's kind of like, I don't know how to explain it because I'm not really big on Lord of the Rings either, which is weird because I'm really into fantasy and sci-fi, which is weird. But
You're
again,
muted.
me being the
muted.
quirky and weird
oh,
anyway.
you're muted.
But
Yeah.
He's talking, but he's talking, but he's muted. I'm like, you're saying things too. Like, what are you saying?
Yeah.
Yes, can you?
Yeah,
we
they
didn't
did.
hear anything
Yeah.
you said because you're muted.
Yeah, I was like, he's muted.
Yeah.
See, it was just the excitement of me.
Yeah.
I see.
I don't know.
You had to self-mute yourself, huh?
Yeah, man. I started screaming and stuff because it's just like
I
that's
think I
my
would try
show,
that
man.
show out.
That's my
Though.
show.
I think that show
Like,
and the
put it this way,
animation
put it
show
this
I
way.
did watch. I like.
Mandalorian is like
Mm.
DS9.
Okay,
There's-
once you say that, I'm already in it.
Well, there's a guy.
And the reason why I say that is because the perspective that they're putting on Star Wars through the lens of this character
Mhm.
is a huge difference from everything that I've seen. And I'm not just talking about film, I'm talking about the books because I from a kid, I was reading all the books, all the stuff from after, what they made canon and then they stopped and they retconned it, all that. So
Well, I do have a
I'll
question for you, though.
I'll tell you exactly what The Mandalorian is. It's one of the best space westerns ever made.
Sergio,
I want to ask a question. If I watch
Yeah.
it, am I going to get confused in terms of the story? 'Cause I know,
No,
like,
not at all.
No.
see, that's
Not at
that's the beauty of the
Yeah.
Mandalorian.
Okay.
If you were
But it's its
somebody who
own
doesn't know
self-contained
anything
story.
about Star Wars, you
okay,
can follow it.
Oh,
all right,
good.
'cause I'm more of a Trekkie, so I'm like,
No.
I mean,
I
I'll be
like.
honest with you.
I'll
I'll be honest with you. There are Easter eggs in The Mandalorian.
Oh, tons of them.
That
Yeah, I'm
will
sure it is. Yeah,
Either,
for sure.
I mean, if you're not familiar with anything, it's not like it will ruin your experience. If anything, it will
Enhanced.
make you curious to go back and find those things that they're
Exactly.
talking about.
Okay, because with the movies,
It will make you curious. It will make
everything
you
was everywhere.
curious.
Yeah.
for me. So,
But even if you
and that's-
see the Easter eggs, you're not going to know they're Easter eggs.
True.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing,
And
and
you're not
the
going to
thing
miss
there,
anything.
they don't rely on
You know what I
that
mean?
for
Yeah.
you to watch the show, and that's what I like
Okay.
about it.
But if
Alright.
you hear a name, you
It's
might
fan
go, "Oh,
service.
let me
I'm
look
going in
that
head
up."
first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
fan
no,
service,
it's
but
fun.
it's not beat you over the head fan service.
It's
Right.
not bad. Well, I mean,
It's-
and that's been
in
season
a
2 in
good way.
general.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
and I was gonna say I'm a Trekkie myself. I mean, like you, Blueprint of the Enterprise right behind me.
behind him.
Yeah,
I
right
love that
behind
blueprint.
me.
I love that
I
blueprint,
love
by the
that.
way.
I was wanting to say something about that.
Yeah, like I've been trying to find other like portraits like that. So,
Mhm.
Oh, they
And-
have that with
and,
Star
you know,
Wars. The
yeah,
Millennium Falcon.
Antonio and Michael have seen me for the past couple of maybe months doing a first time watch of an
Mhm.
animated series, the Star Wars: The Clone
Mhm.
Wars.
Mhm.
This is my first time kind of
Oh.
diving kind of head first into Star Wars like this, and it
Mhm.
made me want to go back even further and learn more about the lore. So
Yeah.
so that's basically what The Mandalorian will do in addition to watching Star Wars: The Clone Wars. That's why I was trying to double dutch into the conversation because I'm like you. Like, I'm kind of new, to this whole world. And The Mandalorian, like, Michael said, it's a Sergio Leone spaghetti western.
Spaghetti
Ooh.
Western,
Yeah,
yep.
it's a
Exactly.
spaghetti western.
Ooh.
Now, I do
way
feel-
about Lord of the Rings, so it's
Yeah.
like I
Ooh.
didn't really
Yeah.
like. Not that the story was confusing, but I just wasn't feeling it too much.
Yeah.
And this is
Well,
coming
I
from
mean-
someone that's really into fantasy, so it's
Well,
like
You're not going to miss anything. It's
That
it's
was
its
part of
own
the reason
self-contained
why-
story, so you're fine.
okay.
Well, with Star Wars, that was part of the reason why I couldn't get into the original series. And I know people do not at me. If you want to join me and buy some books, I got some. But the reason I couldn't get into Star Wars is because even as a kid, there were just a bunch of. I did not see myself until Billy D showed up.
Oh.
Even then, I'm still. I mean, that's the only color that I saw. So when you don't see yourself reflected in this stuff, for me, it's not. It can be so far flung that we don't exist, and it's always just British white guys. So for people who are hypercritical of everything post Abrams, at least I saw some people that look like me, doing this stuff, and behind the scenes. That's another part of this. So, Bill Burr, who's a comedian who used to kind of
Bill Burr, wow,
incredible in Star Wars, but he was asked to play a role in The Mandalorian, and he was just like, for somebody who had nothing to do with Star Wars, and I'm pretty sure that the check helped out a lot. Once he kind of got immersed in this world, he was just like, I can see what the appeal is from a storytelling perspective. So yeah, I do feel that season 2 was a little fan servicey, but it wasn't to the point where it was horrible. And I don't want to say too much about the last episode, but anyways,
a lot of people going crazy over that last episode.
Yeah, they brought me over but the Clone Wars was the big thing. Even it was season 7 2020, or was that 2019? The season 7 of the Clone Wars.
2019.
I think it started in 2019.
Okay, well, because I watched it, that was one of the best this year, because that was one of the best things of 2020. And I would recommend watching that animated series, and then also pairing that up with The Mandalorian, because that gives you a lot of perspective on things that are happening in The Mandalorian. But yeah, I still love Trek. And before I forget, I'm going to give love to Star Trek Discovery Season 3. They gave the fans what they wanted.
Yeah,
I'm not going to spoil it, and they still complain.
Yeah,
shut up.
Really?
Just shut up.
That's the geek, and that's the fandom, that's the nerd.
That's how they are.
But in this case, they gave, and I don't want to spoil it, but they gave the fans a perfect situation where it doesn't affect canon, and they are still riding hard against that show. Yeah. Which is representative of Star Trek to the nth degree, and also
Data does not.
And the crew of the fact that the crew of that ship has no like white males at the front of it is just beautiful black and brown and just women of all type just leading the show. That's awesome, and it's just continuing Trek into where it needs to be. Like, you can't keep telling the same stories. Like, you can't.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I just want to give shout out for season 3, and also anytime they show her with her mother, I'm just like, that's beautiful, because you don't get to see that a lot in Trek. So
the only one you really see is the Troys. That's all you really see are the Troys.
Yep.
So
hey, Robert, I'm curious to ask you what you thought of, if you've seen it, Picard.
Picard was good. Picard was I'm definitely more in the Discovery camp as far as which one I prefer. Picard, I felt I need to get to know that crew a little bit more.
Yeah.
That's the one thing. And but the biggest thing that I did, and there were a couple of things about the last episode which I wasn't a fan of from a storytelling perspective. But scale out of 1 to 10, I give it like a 7 or an 8. I do like this whole ideal of focusing on a captain post Federation. For people who had a problem with how the Federation was treating him, the Federation has a long history. It's bureaucracy. Even when they started, they start with the loftiest of goals, but as you grow bigger and bigger and bigger, to expect that they are going to adhere to those same lofty goals, and it doesn't make sense to me. But there's a lot of unnecessary kind of criticism that I'm finding with Trek with old heads. And I'm just like, and that's the thing that frustrates me. I'm like, look at Star Wars. They putting out shows like candy, sprinkling it out, and its quality. The fact that we went,
Disney.
Enterprise actually was the last Trek show on TV, and as a Trek fan, I hated that route. I love the Abrams verse movies. I enjoy them. That's the only part of Trek that, outside of Discovery, that my wife will tolerate. It just is what it is. But they're doing their best to bring in people who aren't baby boomers, and I love it. Like, I saw one discussion where they were, some person asked online where they were like, why is Star Trek so focused on social issues in the future? And I'm just like, do you not know what Star Trek is?
Right?
It's always
exactly.
And the problem
Day one.
the problem of the vibe that I felt that they were kind of focusing on is because now they're focusing on LGBTQ issues, and I'm like, oh, so now you have a problem with that. That's the issue.
Well, look.
Like,
Star Trek
when you-
has always
all that
been
stuff has been
that
there
one
since
that's
day
been
one.
pushing the envelope. I mean, from
Yeah.
back in the day when it was Uhura and Kirk in that kiss on screen, and the controversy back then. You know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even on Deep Space Nine, they lament the fact that they didn't kind of pursue or at least look into the same-sex relationships that Jadzia Dax might have had.
Yeah.
You know, that's the other thing. When you watch that documentary, they have a section on there where they talk about the first time there's a same-sex kiss on that show, and then the Ira Stephen Bear says, no, let's take that off because we didn't do more with that. Because that was the show that probably would have given them an opportunity to talk about this segment or community of Star Trek, which honestly has not been represented well until Discovery. I mean, unless you kind of pop mark little episodes and the next
unless you
generation.
also do the Abrams Sulu.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Little moments. But when I think about Star Trek is always television first.
Yeah,
it is not a It is. I mean, films are secondary to television, and because TV now, as far as I'm concerned, have gotten neck and neck with movies as far as telling quality stories. That's where I think Star Trek will thrive. You know,
because they're telling so many stories week to week. They have the opportunity versus a movie. A movie is just one or two, depending on how the person is writing it. They have multiple storylines in one. But if it's episodic, it's just giving you more opportunity to tell different stories from different cast members' perspective.
And even to get deeper with the storytelling and get more background.
But I also think that stories can't stay the same if you're a fan of something and the older you get, right? Because with age, you gain wisdom, right?
Right.
And the story should change. The story should change for that core audience, or what I should say is, the core audience should embrace a change in the story with that wisdom that they gain from the outside, right? Like, and this is one of the things that I had a real problem with. And like you said, Robert, you have Trek people who are angry because you're focusing on social issues, which is they've always focused on, right? You get the same situation on the Star Wars side of the line where it's like people are like, oh, well, a perfect example, Last Jedi. They're like, well, Luke would never turn his back on being that ray of light in the darkness. I'm like, but you guys don't understand. Like, that's the whole reason why I loved Last Jedi, because it's like Luke has seen everything. He's seen the rise, the fall, the failures, everything. Why would he not eventually just say to himself, you know what? Throw the lightsaber in the corner, throw the ship in the sea. I'm done. I'm finished.
It's on his shoulder.
You know what I mean?
This kind of reminds me.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say, because like that's the one that's the middle one, right? That's episode 8.
Yeah.
Episode 8 is my favorite one of the new series because they go buck wild, and once again they aren't playing it safe. The 7th and the 9th movies played it too safe, and Luke is a part of that. Luke was carrying the entire weight of the Jedi Order on his shoulders.
Yes.
And that was it. So that was my only 2 cents. I'm sorry.
I mean, and that's the beauty. That's the beauty of The Last Jedi, right? It's the whole examination of what that really means personally for someone who has been dubbed the chosen one this entire time. Yeah. Like, what happens when he slips and he fails? You know what I mean?
Human.
Everybody has a day. Everybody has that day.
Exactly. But they were Star
you
Wars
over here drinking blue milk. You got, you know you're lactose intolerant, and you on this island by yourself.
But there were Star Wars fans that were like, "Oh,
but you see,
this isn't how it would be. This movie's too." One person in particular I can think of was like, "Oh, this movie's too artsy." I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
Wow.
They love the man.
You know what it is? At the end of the day, when you have certain things that have been in the like social culture for so long and had a following for so long, you're gonna have these. It's gonna generate these pockets in their fandom that is just overly critical of everything to the point that they will never be happy. I mean, even like when it comes down to like switching to another show like Doctor Who.
Right.
One of the only reasons why that kind of happens, but in the same time it doesn't, is because the character has a built-in avenue of change. So that for those who don't know, Homeboy can regenerate.
Yeah.
And with that,
or
change
Homegirl.
personality.
It's a woman now, right?
Exactly. It's a girl now. And the thing is like, even in the Whovian community, you have that. They call it the Doctor Who cycle, where got the new doctor, everybody hates them, and then by the time you get to the middle, it's like, oh, he grew on me. By the time you know that it's coming to an end, where this person is going to pass the torch, you're like, oh my god, my beloved doctor, that's my favorite. And I think in the case of Star Wars and Star Trek, this is the first time that they're really getting at a cusp of major change for the franchise.
Yeah.
Well, it's because the stories aren't about them anymore.
Right.
They're not. You have to. Everything has to evolve. Everything has to change. Right. Some people just wanted to stay frozen in that moment. No, tell stories that I want to see. Right. No, your time is gone. You watched that stuff that was 20 years ago. Yeah. If it's not for you, then you don't have to watch it. That's always been the problem.
And I think one of the beauties of The Last Jedi is that the movie makes no apologies to the audience while the movie's even running. Like, there's no winks or anything. There's literally a line in the movie that Luke says when Rey comes at him with the lightsaber on Ahch-To, where he says, "This is not going to go the way that you think."
Yep.
He's literally saying
telling you, he's like,
to the audience that whatever you think is going to happen, whatever you've done and made all these preconceived notions in your head of who you think Rey is, where the story's gonna go,
what you think I'm gonna do,
it's not gonna be that. You know what I mean?
But they've been doing that since like Force Awakens, even too.
Yeah.
They started like, you thought it was gonna be one thing. You were like, oh, Finn, about to get this. And you go and you're like,
yep.
That ain't it.
You know what I mean? Whether it's anybody, whether it's Whovians, like they always need like one season to get used to the person. Star Wars fans are, I'm not sure there's like no word for it, honestly. Star Trek fans are a bit better unless there's a person of color or an other, quote unquote, in air quotes, that's the lead or that's leading the ship. Or comics or gaming. When it's there's always going to be that pocket that's mad. They're always mad. They're going to be mad no matter what. Some are just trolling because they want attention. Don't feed the troll. Some are legitimate, ignorant bigots, racists, homophobics, what have you. Again, it's kind of in my head. I think about it like the way to kill Freddy Krueger is you don't give him attention. You turn your back. Nancy turned her back, and what happened to Freddy? He fell, didn't he? He was gone. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't go at these people when they do step on toes. No, go at them, get them.
Sure.
But unfortunately, that's always going to be what we're going to have, no matter how. And we're in a golden, or should I say, a vibranium.
Yes, vibranium.
Nice
age of geekdom, fandom, nerddom. We've got incredible games. We're able to download. You don't have to go into the store. You can download it. Movies. I got a mother box right here. There's so much. Books.
So many books.
Comics. I mean,
comics.
Like all over. You can get everything. And there are stories that are telling incredible arcs of everything that's happening, from parallel worlds that have incredible names. Thank you, Robert. To vampire lore, to stories about African mythology about a kid whose father is the African storyteller Anansi,
Yeah.
and you will still get people mad. Why is that new Green Lantern black? Why is it a woman? Joe.
Was it necessary to have a black Spider-Man as I'm playing Black Spider-Man as a black woman? Like, bruh, get the hell off my stream. Like,
why does she have to be deaf? Why does he have to do sign language? Can I get subtitles at the bottom?
Why do they have to be gay? I'm like,
why does that have to happen?
Why does that bother you?
Why do you have to breathe? Yeah.
There's always going to be something that's going to be in there. Fuck them. I don't know what else to tell you.
2020.
My whole thing is I'm going to enjoy Star Trek. I'm going to enjoy Star Wars. I'm going to enjoy The Expanse, which I'm jumping back into.
Yeah.
Yes. See, look, you know what? Y'all got to stop this BS.
That's that shit.
Adding to my damn list. I was proud of myself.
Never seen it.
So much. Gangs of London.
Joy, The Expanse.
There's so much.
Lit.
The Boys.
The Expanse.
Yes,
The
Expanse on Amazon.
I haven't seen the last season.
It's 5 seasons.
I've seen
the fifth
all
season just dropped.
Yes.
I've seen all of the Sci-Fi Channel seasons. I haven't seen the
Amazon.
The
Amazon. That's another one that doesn't get as much love as I feel it needs to. And in certain ways, The Expanse actually is more than. You're fine. I think The Expanse is right up there with Trek, if not.
I was going to say that The Expanse is similar to Firefly in the sense of following.
The thing with Firefly is that there's too much of Whedon that's wrapped up in that for me. Yeah. And when I look at The Expanse reminds me of where it gives me an idea of where we might go in the future because humanity stays on some fuck shit.
Yeah, you're right.
You're right. The Expanse is real. Like that's like real sci-fi to me. But the 5th season, we're going to start that this week. But yeah, that's another space opera I think people should look into.
Yeah. But you know what? I feel at The Expanse, like when you said space opera, it put my mind back to Destiny 2.
Yeah.
Because
and I swear it's like even in the world of The Expanse, the world of The Expanse could easily translate to Destiny.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how crazy it is.
I can see that.
My thing is that my friend just sent me like a barrage of videos, like all the movie trailers for not movie trailers, but you know how video games are with their cinematic trailers from all the Destiny 1 and then some of Destiny 2 that I missed because I came right before this expansion came out.
Okay.
And I came across the trailer of when everything first started. Where
my god, those trailers are movies on their own.
Traveler, and I'm like, holy shit! So that's what happened. That's how that started. And I started traveling to Mars. Okay, all right. Now I got to get the book.
Books.
Multiple.
Plural. Yeah.
Oh my god, like you can get lost in Destiny. I swear. Like at this point, like especially with the pandemic, it really did make me feel
it's like I told you before. Yeah, it's like I told you before. My friend is a lore master, so when he was like just telling me, I call him a lore master, but he was just telling me everything Destiny related, even Destiny 1.
Although
and
I can't wait until they finally, like I believe it's coming late next year. We'll finally have cross-platform play.
Right.
Yeah, play with y'all.
Okay. That might make me come back on.
And when he was telling me everything, like certain points of the story, it just made me like, dude, you just want me to like get into Destiny 1, and it's still playable apparently.
Yeah, no, that's what I like about
you. Like you're getting me like super interested in the store. Like I gotta go in. I gotta like get the books. I gotta watch like.
I was a cookbook. I was eyeing the cookbook
and everything. Like he was.
I almost bought it. They have a Destiny cookbook, and I was looking through some of the recipes, and I'm like, yo, this is hot. This is fire.
It reminds me of 14 because a lot of creators that play 14 are into that. It's a YouTuber that makes the recipes for one of the crafters, and it's for food because one of the crafters are culinary. So she actually has a YouTube channel how to make certain recipes from Final Fantasy 14. So I can see where Destiny would have that too because it has such a big community and it's been out for so long. So you're gonna have a lot of people that are very creative, whether they're painters, artisans, culinary. You know, they're gonna have a lot of people in there. There's actually a store on Etsy that makes ghosts. Like they do 3D prints of ghosts.
Oh, you gotta share that. You have to share that now.
Yeah, share that link.
It's really cool. So you know, it's a lot of artisans. They have people that make like Moogles, chocobos. Like they make all of these figurines. And that's what's like, it's funny how I'm in both fandoms right now. Like I just got into Destiny, but I've been playing 14.
I would wish that Destiny is for real, so that when I die, I do come back as a guardian. I'm saying it. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you know that.
Like I understand. Like I do understand that. In essence, that means that humanity is going to go to a really dark place at one point. But I mean, imagine you'll be a freaking guardian. I mean, it's like. You have a ghost. You can just like travel the planets and shit. It's like
I'm trying to haunt a racist. No.
Yeah, let's get on that.
If we're talking about reincarnation, I want to come back as a breakdancer so I can save the community center.
I was waiting for that joke.
Yeah, it was. Oh no, and there was a small Sliders connection when we started talking about Dreamgirls because Clavant Derricks from Sliders was in the original cast of Dreamgirls. So I didn't bring that up until now. So Sliders reboot.
Oh my god, that was such a good show. That was such a good show.
This shows Robert's world building, even during a podcast. He's still building that world and those layers of storytelling. Go read this man's books.
Yes, please.
That's like Clavant's there. Before I forget, because I'd be remiss as a comic book writer on here to not mention 2020 with comic books. I just wanted, one of the big things I wanted to mention was indie creators have been continue to go hard in the writing paint when it comes to comic books, and Kickstarter has been a huge part of that. My bank account shows that it's been a huge part of that because I've pledged to a few of them, but we mentioned Greg, TJ Sterling, Afua Richardson has a Kickstarter right now, which banked all that money within 72 hours. Yeah, within 72 hours. The search for Sadaka, One Nation Stronghold, shout out to 133 Art. Nightfall, Wingless Comics. Black, I think indie comics in general have been doing pretty well because I think Kickstarter said that they set record numbers in comic book fundraising period. Keanu Reeves got in on it with his comic book, and it's been a really big year for indie comics, and shout out to all of the virtual convention organizers that have done stuff this year. And mainstream, I'll say it live on TV, DC Comics, y'all, I'm glad that I'm so happy for people who don't look like, I'm happy that Black folks got hired. I'm happy that women got hired. I'm happy that people of color got hired on these major books. Future State, Brandon Thomas, Althea.
Would be huge. That's why I'm so interested, because of the names that are on there.
Yeah, I'm more interested in the creators behind Future State and everything going forward with DC Comics. And because a lot of these people have been in the industry for a minute, and they are some of the greatest creators that I've come across. And they don't need DC Comics or Marvel Comics to be as talented as they are, but the paycheck don't hurt. Real talk.
That's right.
And their IPs will grow greater because of the talents that these people have brought on. So 2020, I'm so happy to see that these people are getting on. But they, like I said, they didn't need these people, folks, to publishers to do their thing. But yeah, indies and mainstream comic books, I'm hyped for it. But Antonio, you got that. I know you got like a top 10 list already.
Bruh, like this year has been amazing for comics. Like you were saying with Kickstarter, I mean, and in that point, show and prove, and people showed and proved that they love the creators, they love the properties that are in these indie comics.
In a pandemic.
Yeah.
In a pandemic.
In a pandemic, when some people were only getting unemployment or may not even been getting that. And they still were putting in for these books. Marvel and DC, the big two, are starting to, like within the last couple of years, I want to say, have been starting to say, oh, okay, so you guys are into them. So we're going to get them to do this book. We're going to get them to do this book. Future State is going to be a huge thing because of the creators.
Right.
And it's the one thing of DC that I'm the most excited about. I'm like, oh wait, I've been looking to see if they're available yet, like on Comixology to be
borrowed,
pre-ordered, and I haven't seen it yet. I keep checking because I want that. I really do. I want to see the Wonder Woman. I want to see the Aquaman. I want to see the Batman. I want to see all of them. And I do. And these creators and all the companies that I'm starting to get more into now, like Vault Comics, I got to shout out the shirt for Bleed Them Dry. I absolutely love it. Philadelphia. Oh my God.
God.
I just read the last issue and it's so well done. Again, it's black. It's horror. You're getting vampires. You're getting history woven into it. You're getting this father and son bickering incredibly. I love the bickering. It's amazing stuff. And you're seeing stories that you would never have seen before. There's a book called, and Joy actually got me into this book, Safe Sex, SFSX.
Yes.
You know how you would see in like a dystopian future movie, sci-fi thing, whatever, like the brothel or the speakeasy is where they go to meet up, and then somebody ends up telling on them, and the place gets shot up and
raided,
or get killed. Well, think about this: in San Francisco, which is actually very funny that it's set in San Francisco, the brothel, speakeasy, what have you, and the sex workers they're the heroes of the story.
Yes. As they should be at this point.
Yes. And I will go on record. I will say it, and I've said it on camera continuously. I am pro sex workers.
Probably the heroes of the pandemic so far.
Big facts. Like people are here. Like they are. You support sex workers. You just
somebody's PayPal because they'd be like, oh no, that wasn't me. That was a mistake.
Yeah. Okay.
5 times for 5 different videos. That was custom. I know you like specials that much.
People champion sex workers. They really do. It's just they don't want to be on the spotlight of it. I'm like, everyone at some way, point, shape, or form, you like something. Okay.
You watched something. We all were kids at one point with HBO trying to see a booby or a cheek, like
you've seen something.
But stories like that. You have just these incredible stories that are being told, and you have to have different stories from different people from different walks of life. One of the best things I read in 2020, actually, was Diary of Angry Black Werewolf.
Yes. Love her.
That book does not get enough credit. And here's why I love it. First off, Michelin is cool as hell. And she's always hungry, and her social battery dies very low. So I can, I can elevate so many levels that we can connect on. But also the fact of socially aware, horror, again, wonderfully drawn, and her art is deceptive, where it looks like it should be a kiddie book.
Like a kid's book.
It ain't.
Kids.
Yeah.
And the fact that the story was created through Inktober. So she created that story by using prompts.
Wow.
It wasn't like she sat there and she wrote it and everything. Like she went through prompts and told a story with the art and such, and then that's incredible. And that book does not get enough love. It does not get enough love. Okay, there are so many creators that I'm constantly saying their names because they need to get love. They need to get support. Whether it's Robert Jeffrey.
Yes.
In here.
That
whether
man
it's
is powerful.
Eugene Sawyer, who is
he's
she does the damn thing all the time with all the things.
Doing work for
Mhm.
DC Comics now, right? Doing work
Yes,
for DC Comics. Like she's that's what I'm saying. Like
yeah.
it's
They're all of a sudden coming out and like, oh,
Yeah.
you know what? We've been watching you. I know.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, Robert knows he wrote for Green Arrow. Sorry, Lantern.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are incredible creators continuously, and when I see that their work is there and it's available, and if I have a few extra coins, I'm gonna pop it in. I am. Philadelphia is amazing book that has come out. I started reading like Bleed Them Dry because I have a thing for vampires. I do, but my God, the amount of books that are out there are so astounding, and they've been hitting on every level. And I'm so proud that people came out, showed support. Sha-Nee is an incredible artist.
I'm trying to throw money at her too, girl. I'm trying to throw all the monies at you.
Well, Sha-Nee, are there ones that you've been reading? Like any comics from this year?
Naomi. I read Naomi. I did have the DC app, so I read all of Birds of Prey.
Okay.
It was an amazing run.
The most recent run?
Yeah, I think at least that's what I think. Yeah, the most recent one. I have so many comics I haven't even read yet, but I know I have like Moonshot, where like a lot of indigenous stories. So I haven't finished reading that one, but that is really. I have volume 3, and that one's really good. I just got my haul from TJ Sterling, so I just got his books. So I haven't read them yet. So I just got his stuff.
Yep. Awesome.
There's just so many. I picked up so many comics from Anyone Comics, like
Dimitri
Boy.
Shout out your favorite shop. Yeah, shout out your favorite shop.
Shout out to him. He actually rode his bike to deliver comics to me.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
Him and his girlfriend were doing that, like going around delivering. Who does that?
This man.
Exactly.
And I was like,
I
dude,
love that comic book store. Like that's the only comic book store I really, really go to because Bulletproof is too far from me. Midtown Comics, I'm not really in the city like that. So for Anyone Comics to be like at the heart of Crown Heights, and I'm not in Crown Heights, I'm in Bed-Stuy. So for me to just take a train and a bus there, it's a very short ride between both transportations. It's right there. He sees me. We see each other. We talk for hours in the comic book store about comics. And usually when it comes to bookstores, I go in, I get what I want that I'm looking for. Sometimes I stay there for like an hour. No, this dude tells me a lot. Give me another list. And
he's so good at that. Oh my God, it's wonderful.
Like I am there for 4 hours. I remember me, Antonio, Kia, I think Joy, I think you were there too, and we all just kind of walked in like we were a squad. And I was like, Dimitri, I brought people. this is when they met. Everybody met when I was like, yo, let's go here.
Yeah.
You have to. And it was great how people supported shops during the pandemic and when things started happening.
Yeah.
You know, and I know. Just
the place down here that challenges games and comics is the LCS down here where, and I give credit where it's due. Tony Cade is the guy that got me involved in the industry because we were running with the publisher that shall not be named. And he got me started with Route 3. So anyways, it's always 2 publishers. But Tony Cade was doing the same thing, like using Uber to deliver comic books. He was trying to find safe ways to get people to come in, with the mask and the proper distancing. And so he had to switch it up. I mean, I think all of our LCSs or whatever had to find ways to exist. But, I think that entertainment always gets kind of crapped on when it comes to situations like this. And definitely it's secondary to everything that's going on. But I think, when you're entertained, when you're having a way to escape the stuff that's going on around you, and there's a lot that's going on, I think those places should be celebrated. So things like, just the local comic book shops, shout out Tony, if you're watching this. But yeah, I know he was like hitting us up. He's like, how do I use Uber to deliver comic books? And I was just like, dude, just hire somebody. And and that's what he did. He was delivering like miniatures and games to different households so people could stay in the house and play board games. You know, down here in Georgia, because sometimes it's a stupid conservative state. A lot of people decided that they could run around without face masks or whatever, but the people who stayed at home, we need stuff to do, and that's what but I'm pretty sure that's what Anyone Comics was doing. That's what Tony was doing with challenges, and they've been hit. They've been hit with the printing and the publishing side of things and the distribution. Actually, shout out to Jason Reeves, Andre Owens, and Milton Davis. They created a distribution service for Black indie comics. So we wouldn't have to continue to wait on Diamond distributors to make to give us access to putting our books in their catalogs. So shout out to the three of them. But yeah, this has brought innovation and change to the industry in a way that I haven't seen before. And when I saw people coming out on Kickstarter and spending that money when we barely have it, that was beautiful. Like I said, we're shouting out specific series which are trend setting. One Nation Stronghold is big. I'm sorry, I'm published by 133 Art, which publishes that book, but Greg and Jason, and I'm forgetting the artist's name, but they killed it on that. It's a story about it's a Black gay man who he's an albino. He's albinism. He has superpowers, but they also show him like coming out, which is like a huge part of that story. And it's it is beautiful. Like Greg sent me the PDF before it's dropped, and I was just like, and One Nation is a series that Jason created way back when, where if you think about something like Milestone Universe, that's kind of something if you want to point a reference, but Greg, next to it, is Nana. I think this is the best thing that he's written. I mean, I love Marasa, but Stronghold, yep. Like when you read that opening scene with him in college, I was just like, this needs to be up there with one of the best books of 2020. So Indies is where it's at. I love a lot of stuff in mainstream, but I don't think you could see something like that at Marvel or DC. Hitting it hard.
You could, but they
ruined it. Like put a little segue in for gaming, because it's been pretty big with the streaming side, especially with Twitch. I want to actually shout out. Well, of course, Joy is here, so I'm gonna shout her out. I also want to shout out like my girl, like me and Joy's girl, Jabba-chan.
Jabba-chan. Yeah, I've been wanting to say her name forever.
Yeah, me too. That's why I'm just waiting. But I wanted to shout her out. She just started streaming recently, I think earlier this year. And she just made affiliate on Twitch. She is a Black girl gamer. Nice. But her content is hilarious. I'm on there sometimes, pay 128 in case you guys wonder. Like I am on there with her sometimes playing Destiny 2. We have shenanigans and struggle stream.
Yes.
So, it's hilarious. We just had it last night. My partner, Lord Kabuto, he's on Twitch as well. So like he's playing Dark Souls 3 right now with all the frustration. Poor man. So and last but not least, I just found out that my own best friend, her name is Tiger Art or Tiger Noodle Arc. I just found her channel, so I can like put all the handles in. But she's a fantastic artist. Me and her have been best friends since college. That's my sister. Like I don't even say best friend. I say sister because she's literally my sister. So her art is amazing. And she's on Pictaro. I think that's another streaming service there. But I think that's more streaming for artists. But she's on there. And her work is amazing. And there's just so many like streamers that I'm just finding, especially through Black Girl Gamer. Shout out to them too. So
all day.
Finding them. Like I'm not a streamer, but I do like to watch and like really help my friends as much as I can and just like give them that view. But I do play games with them a lot. I do like do co-ops and stuff like that. At least especially with Java. With Java more. And then Kabuto stream, you'll see me there because I'm his partner. So I'll get like 5 minutes. Bye.
Well, that's the beautiful thing that we found out. You know, like people like that's the beautiful thing that we found out is where the support is at, and it came up in the darkest time.
Yeah, and like they're
You know,
playing
it's
games,
beautiful.
they're just having fun. They kind of bring out that whole it makes you relax.
Yeah.
You know, instead of worrying about what's going on outside, you're inside, you're okay. Let's do something else. Let's play some games. And these streamers are amazing, whether you want to watch them for art or sculpting, or you want to watch them to play games or to discuss games or to have a podcast through Twitch or Pitaro.
Or
you
advice.
know,
or advice.
Like even the Lightbox Expo, it's a convention that, shout out to them too, but it's a it's a whole convention that deals with fantasy artists and sci-fi artists, and they had to do a virtual event this year, and it was open to everybody, and half of their stuff was on Twitch. A lot of creatives that had their panels, it was on Twitch, because that was a good way to Twitch and YouTube, because those were good ways to really like reach out to people and have these panels and these discussions. So I think that was a really good way for gamers to really connect with everybody, especially since back in the day we had people come over because that was the only way for all of us to play games. But
actual couch co-op,
couch co-op was real.
Like, Twitch kind of made that a virtual couch co-op type of thing, where it's like you're watching someone play, and just the fact that it opened up that platform for gamers, especially gamers of color, to really like get in and play like a lot of fighting games, a lot of shooting games, a lot of RPG, variety streamers. It kind of opened that door. So it gave a lot of people who aren't home as much, but now they're home, it gives them something to watch and something to be entertained by. If they don't feel like playing a game right now, they could just watch somebody else play and talk to that person and connect with that person that's streaming it.
And it's cool to be able to talk to me, because it also shows you like the game before you even get it.
Right.
So you might want to preview it, what have you, which is great. So on that note, so the year was basura.
Sí. mucha basura.
Yeah.
Towards the end,
so much basura.
Straight dumpster fire.
We started finding out that we can support each other. We can be there for each other.
Please be kind to each other.
Yeah.
We started really finding that out, and we had moments that illuminated us, whether it was the racial tensions, whether it was the speaking out, which is like the Me Too,
Black Lives Matter,
like a version for comics and wrestlers.
This is the first time I protested.
You did?
Wow.
Yeah, I went to Washington D.C. I was part of that.
Oh
Yeah.
wow! Oh,
Yeah, I got the. Do you remember the shirt that Takia made?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, wait, I do remember that.
Stop killing us.
I
Yeah.
wore it to that. I wore it to when we went to the monument.
So
I remember
we
seeing that.
And
Too.
have found out.
That feels like it's so long ago. Jesus.
It is. So we found out that we can be there. So even if things start to get better with the vaccine or what have you, whatever's going on, we still have to keep that mindset of being there and supporting each other and letting each other know that we've got your back.
No matter what.
Try and keep that for 2021. I don't want to jinx it. I'm not going to say anything else, because next thing you know, like shoelaces will start attacking us in the middle of the night.
Look.
But I also
I'm not
want
going to be surprised, because I mean, when I think it was back in May when they said that there were some monkeys that stole blood samples from a lab, I was like, I'm done.
I remember that.
I'm done.
In Aliens.
Look, sometimes sci-fi is real. I don't know what to tell you.
But I also want to
Sometimes
say, shout out to all the healthcare workers, the essential workers.
Yes.
Yeah, like your mom
are doing the thing. And the funny thing is that they've been doing their job even before the pandemic started. But that's something that we should always be grateful for, that there are people there to help. Yeah. There are people there to let you know what's going on, to assist you in any way they can. And it's sad that when the protests were happening, they were with not with Black Lives Matter, but there was another protest happening with the whole COVID thing. Right. And a lot of a lot of people were protesting the nurses. Like they were they were preventing them.
Blocking them. Yeah, preventing
They're
them
blocking
going
into
to
the
work. It's
hospital.
crazy.
And that's
Yeah.
to me, I don't understand. I was like, these are people that's trying to save you. Like, why are you blocking or trying to save someone that's in that building? Why would
Because
you?
I'm privileged. That's why. Oops.
Like,
It's
that's
unforgiving human.
like blocking a firefighter from going into the building to save someone, or literally putting the fire out. That doesn't make any sense. Because I remember I seen it. It was a guy that was like, "Oh, I taught my son to respect police officers, firefighters, nurses, and doctors, but I told him not to respect y'all anymore." And I'm thinking to myself, and I'm like, "But what happened? God forbid if you're." And his son was there. And his son looks like I was maybe 6 or 7 years old. And I'm thinking to myself, I was like, well, God forbid, what happened if your son gets sick? Not by the virus, but just sick in general. And it's getting to the point that you have to take him to the hospital.
Because
like,
people are selfish
about these things where people are doing the best they can with the equipment that they got. They're doing the best they can with the situation at hand. And they're putting themselves at risk to protect us. They're putting themselves at risk to find cures for us. And even with essential workers, they're putting themselves at risk to deliver food, to deliver goods. The postal workers and UPS and like all the services that mail deliver us things. Like they're literally putting themselves at risk to make sure that you're okay, to make sure that you're comfortable. And they don't get enough recognition and gratitude. So thank you, essential workers. Thank you, nurses and doctors, for doing all that you can with the situation at hand. So shout out to y'all. That whole thing just pissed me happy. I'm like, what? Like, pissed me happy means in a bad way.
Pissed me happy.
I see that, and it's like, why? You know.
And let me kind of piggyback on that because I have a wife who's a speech therapist at an elementary school down here, and you know, I know
teachers,
and I know Georgia helped to save the election this year. We still, you know, that was strange as hell down here. That was strange. Like we were watching the news and we were like, what? Because the state has been so red. But the reason I mentioned the politics of it is because Georgia has been one of those not as forward thinking states, I feel, when it comes to the government, you know, that we have in place. And the restrictions that educators down here have had to deal with, and also nationwide and other states where they aren't so forward thinking. It's hard. It's been difficult. But outside of, you know, any clapback that they might get from local government, I feel that just having to deal with the situation being what it is, it's different. You know, they are educating within a pandemic, and seeing the work that, personally speaking, my wife has put into doing her job in the midst of all of this, in addition to hearing stories about the other educators who are doing their best, you know, to cope and deal with this stuff, in addition to possibly being subjected to it, you know, to COVID, has been huge. So I know that there has been a lot of criticism from parents when it comes to this situation being what it is, but being with somebody on the quote unquote, you know, I'm not going to say front line because they're not dealing with the disease, but trying to help the children, or trying to help, you know, balance digital learning versus in-person learning, because down here, some counties have not completely cut out the in-person aspect of this. Some counties have, where they're just completely digital. My wife has to do half and half. And if you think that is easy, it ain't. So shout out to my wife, you know, primarily because I love her, and I'm invested in my wife, but then also shout out to all of the educators who are doing their best to kind of deal with it, because I think that educators are, even in normal times, they are one of the most crapped on professions in this country.
Underpaid.
You're right.
And this is me. I'm just representing myself. This ain't my wife speaking. This is me. I hate it. I know I have friends who are teachers, and once I got married to an educator, or a speech therapist in this case, and it gave me more of an insight into how difficult it can be. So that's kind of like when you mentioned the nurses and the doctors and medical care workers. I've been wanting to say that about like educators for a while. So
most
shout out
definitely.
to them. You know.
Yeah, they definitely are doing the Lord's work in terms of
Yeah.
the amount of virtual stuff and the kids and the dealing with the electronic technology. Like I was just saying, thank God I'm not a student right now. Like
Yeah.
I don't
I'm
ever
glad
want to
I'm
go
not
back.
in school. I'm glad I'm not in school because this shit is crazy.
I don't know.
It is.
I don't know.
It's
I
just the
have to
fact that
disagree on
people
that.
are really protesting this
I
thing.
think
Sorry to cut you off.
I don't know. Like I think at least for me personally, when it comes to education, if I was a kid right now in this system, it would be like when Morpheus hooked up Neo to the training program for the first time, and he's like, "I know Kung Fu,"
Oh
because
no.
I am just like, look, Joy and Antonio, you guys know me as a kid. I was always in a book. I was always reading. I was glued to the TV. I was glued to a computer screen from Jump Street. So like all this virtual stuff, I would have been one of those kids who would have just been lost. I would have just completely sucked in. It would have been like Sword Art Online.
But that's stuff like you want to do. Like my issue
like
is
a lot of
I hate doing this from home.
distractions because you got stuff going on at
And
home too.
I don't like that.
And that's the other part of it. Like I said, with somebody, and Carlo, you said you have kids, but being somebody who has, it's been difficult to transition from in-person learning as an educator to being, and that's the thing, and working sometimes for
I
the
can see
county,
that with
and
other
working,
teachers. I
but
definitely
also
see that.
in the background, like we watched a not a city hall, it was a school district meeting where the parents were coming up to the podium and they were so anti digital. They weren't. They were just like, we
They don't
hate
want
it.
them
No, no,
badass
like
at
I said,
home.
if you want to see some weird stuff, move to Georgia. But they were so anti-digital. They were like, my kid needs to go in person. And this is during the height of the pandemic. This is when we didn't know. But my thing is, the educators, that's what I'm saying, they need to be given a nationwide like raises period, but also for having to essentially learn how to teach a different style of teaching. This wasn't something that, and everybody has been kind of transitioned. People who were working in offices now have to work from home and learn how to do that. It's been different, but I think in this case, because the you're working with children, you're working with people's children, and you want to come at this in the best way possible and still provide them with the quality education that they were getting inside of schools. It can be hard, so that's why that's why I'm so kind of, I ride or die when it comes to educators. It's just like when you marry one, it's just like, and even before that I was, but you get to see how the sausage is made, and sometimes it ain't pretty. It's like,
but I think essentially that exposes a major problem too, though, right?
Yes.
Like, and it's not about the educator, right? Because the educator is doing their calling in this situation, right? But it's the people who employ the educators, right? Like you see in the news this whole brewing war on big tech and how we need to rein them in and all this. But there's the flip side of that is there has been absolutely no embracing by the municipalities in all of these states of big tech, because if you had done that a long time ago, you would make this whole digital learning experience a lot more robust and a lot more easier to implement in times like this. You know what I mean? It's not, well, fine. You want to go to war in big tech because you think they've become too powerful. To an extent, I agree with that argument. But the other half of the argument that I do not agree with is you guys kind of put yourselves in this position where there is no digital backup in case something like this happens. And yes, I will sit here and say no one could have known the pandemic would be this bad. No one could have known that a pandemic was even coming ahead of time 10 years ago, right? But
they had a task force.
Yeah, true. But I think you can't just have this one black or white type of issue on big tech. Are there problems with big tech? Absolutely.
Yeah,
There's
of
always
course.
going to be problems with corporations, no matter where they are, because essentially they become too big for their own good, right? But there are positives that these
That's going on
municipalities
with Google right
offer,
now.
and
Google.
none of us,
So sad.
nobody is really trying to embrace the positive things that they're offering, because either it becomes too expensive or too this, or it's going to eliminate these things. I mean, it's a tricky situation. You know what I mean?
Well,
Yes.
I mean, you have that and the technology problem as well. And like you were saying, it's too expensive. A lot of people can't afford it. What about people?
Sure.
What about the kids who are, in essence, left behind because they can't afford that technology, so they can learn
Yeah,
their
but
lessons?
but
Like
I'm not
that
even talking
BS.
about. I'm not even talking about personally at home. Like, schools should have embraced technology years
A
ago.
long time ago.
But that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like only certain people are able to afford to even embrace the technology.
Well, no, there are some schools in New York that they will, if they do have the laptops, they will provide kids with laptops, like certain classes. Like I have
But
two
how
nephews.
about if somebody doesn't have internet or Wi-Fi?
Yeah,
Okay, so no, to
because
answer
my
that,
oldest nephew, he
no.
had a laptop, and he had
That's what sucks.
his school had to give him one, or I think his school had to give one of his classmates one because he already had his own little laptop. So his school does offer like small, affordable laptops where they just give it to the parents for the kids to learn through. But yeah, you're right.
in
I
New
mean,
York,
because
in the
not
Bronx,
everybody has
Yeah,
that.
and I
Because
mean,
there's not like a
Bronx,
system,
they,
citywide
Like,
system.
not everybody has that
Right.
type of school or school
Right.
system or anything.
Right.
in
And
the
I,
Bronx,
and I
they
digress, Antonio,
T-Mobile,
because I
they-
understand where you're coming from on the whole Wi-Fi argument, which is why Wi-Fi should be
Like a
Free.
essential.
No, but
statewide
It
thing.
should
but
be
it's turning
an
into that.
essential utility.
It's
And
turning
it's
into
not
that
been
because, like,
designated a utility.
well, I think it's turning into that because, like, in my son's school, at this point, for those kids who don't have Wi-Fi, the laptop and slash or tablet, most of the time being an iPad that they give them, comes with a SIM chip built in
To the network.
that is connected to
Yeah.
T-Mobile. They like the Department of Education teamed up with T-Mobile in the Bronx to provide it.
Wow.
Those kids who don't have internet, they get it, and then they also with, I think, Optimum, they are giving it. They're providing either free or low cost discounted internet to families who apply for it through the school.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're learning.
Internet
Getting
needs
better.
to be designated a utility.
Yeah, it should
Yes.
just be some. I know when I lived in St. Louis, they were trying to make it like citywide. And in the building I lived in, I could get a little bit of a signal, but not much. But I think it was AT&T actually, ironically enough.
Google,
But that was like over 10 years ago. So I mean, that was a whole different time.
Not much has changed, brother.
Well, I mean, that was more beneficial. I'm saying because there was a little bit of a signal, and I could get some, what have you. But somebody brought that up, when everything started happening. I was like, yeah, I never thought about it because I've got it, and some people just can't afford it. They just not. And if you can't afford it, and you're already not working, or you're getting this, or but people with multiple kids or multiple. I mean, say you have quadruplets, or I don't know, like more than one child, and they're all the same age.
It's a lot.
I don't know. But on that note, because we just started going into so the show became Fandom Initiative.
But that's what happens on this show, brother.
Yeah, no limits, bro.
The show started out as Fandom Initiative, and it became Black Delegation Summit.
Meet the press.
So
Yeah.
I think if we do the Fandom Delegation, I think that we can blend these two together. I don't know. I'm gonna come up with something. All right. So on that note, thank you so very much to everyone who has joined in, who has shared, who has liked, who has subscribed, who has commented, who has joined us in so much ever form. We appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so very much. But I also want to give an extra special thank you to these illustrious guests that we have.
Yes.
Robert Jeffrey II, this man right here,
His fine self.
Sha-Nee Williams. I'm gonna start putting respect on Williams.
I'm part of the Williams clan.
Williams
in the house.
The gentleman who has been eating the whole show, and I'm mad as hell at that. Don't think I didn't notice. This man's playing Gallagher. Don't think I didn't notice.
Morpheus.
That was the leftover brisket that I had made.
Oh, leftover brisket.
Oh my
Leftover
God.
brisket.
I'm so
Just some
hungry.
leftover
Are you
brisket, huh, Carlo?
You know how hungry we are.
I will knock all this over. I will take
I need to go get some food.
this. Look, he gonna take a spoonful. I'm about to say his name. Disrespectful ass. This is Carlo Smith Ramsay. Thank you so very much, sir.
Thank you.
And as always, the one that I give the dad face to. This is JOYNFINITY. Check out their IGs right there, people. Go check them out. Show them love. Support them in their projects and future endeavors. Okay?
Yep.
And we're going to look towards 2021, new slate. We're going to do the best we can every single day. You know the motto here. Just don't be a dick.
Be kind to each other. Please be kind to each other.
Don't
That's
be
all
a dick.
right now is just kindness. Pure
Don't
kindness.
be a cunt. That's pretty much it.
Don't be a dick. Just throw some dick. Throw some pain. If you want to throw some pain, do it in a generous way. Come on. Don't be a dick. Free the dick. Just slang it.
That's how we roll into 2021, huh?
Like that pain.
That right there was priceless. I love it.
Man.
Peace and pain.
I love it.
Yes.
And Antonio, shout out to you, man. Shout out to you and Mike for doing this.
Yes,
When
primo.
y'all came over, y'all were like, we're shelving Strange on the Membrane. I was like, oh God, Fred Sanford heart attack moment.
I got sad.
But,
Yeah, I was sad and scared.
Yeah.
Like, what y'all doing now?
Yeah, but I'm happy. I'm happy y'all are doing this, and in a podcast, oversaturated podcast space, y'all are kind of a breath of fresh air. I'm not say bright of fresh air. I write for a living, but yeah, y'all are,
You know what? That could be a cool.
bright of
A
fresh
bride
air.
of fresh air.
Bright of fresh air.
Write that
this
down.
You know
Yep.
what?
I'm gonna write that down.
You
already
can work that
coined
into
it.
something, brother. You
already
can.
coined it.
Yeah,
He's getting ideas and he's just out here living, breathing air. Like what?
bright of fresh air.
So we've discussed everything. We've discussed throwing copious amounts of peen around the room. I think my back is too bad to even throw peen. I might just have to toss it. I'm not sure how this is going to work out. I'm really not sure. One last thing I forgot to mention about gaming. Apparently, when you create your character, you can actually make transgender characters.
In what?
In Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh,
So that's awesome. So glitches, what have you aside, I haven't played the game.
Yeah,
But
I
think
heard-
that's
Did they
incredible.
pull it from the PS Store?
Yes,
They
because-
did.
Yes.
No, they did because they
Because of all
they
the
said that.
glitches.
Guess what? You're not
PS4.
finished. You didn't make this. You didn't finish this game. You
Yeah.
essentially sold a unfinished product.
Right.
which they keep doing.
That's all the time now, brother.
They
They've
sold you a
had
box with a cinder block in it, and you thought it was
Well,
a big
no,
TV.
trust me,
It's
I
not.
get
Well,
it because
there's a
ever
video
season
that
D, Destiny
about
2
it, yeah.
they've done some things like that, but it hasn't been this glitchy. From my understanding, this is like really, it's
Like,
really
how
bad.
glitchy is it?
It's real
Bad.
To
good.
the point that Sony said, "Yo, you know what?
We
We're gonna
give
take this
y'all-
out," and they actually gave everybody refunds.
They refunded
Wow.
money.
Because the only
Yeah.
thing I've seen was when there's a character in the foreground, their face looked like they came from the PS2 era. That's the only one.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's the only
Wait,
one.
and how much
Yeah.
is this game? $60 or $70.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not good.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm good with playing
That's the only
Spider-Man.
thing I've seen. Everything else is like,
Look,
also-
after all this, I'm going right back to D2. So
But then I also heard that it is causing like epilepsies, like in seizures with the lights and stuff.
Wait,
Like
really?
wow.
yeah, like I was told by my friends that
I'm glad that you just said that because now that means that the boy is not going to get that game.
yeah,
Oh, wow.
I literally my friends shout out to Etchy Angel and Alvarez, like they were saying that it is causing people, it triggers
Because
seizures
of the
and
strobe lighting.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
Gotta
strobe
be
lighting,
careful.
and also sometimes it's certain patterns being flashed at a certain amount of frequency rates.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Well, if you
Can't
got
have
the
that.
game and you're playing it, and you are prone to this, or you have children that are prone to this, or partners, please be careful. Honestly, I mean, but like glitches aside, to have the fact that you can make your character transgender and to reflect who you are as a being, I think is
Yeah.
really cool and really beautiful.
Good point.
So shout out to them for that. But fix the goddamn game, please. Thank you.
Oh,
I was gonna say,
speaking about D2 lore, so you are familiar with Shax and Osiris?
Yeah, I know.
He played both of the Lakers,
They're
right?
together, right?
They're
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
No?
I just read that somewhere. Oh,
No,
it was
no,
in
no,
Nova's
Shax
game.
as an SHAXX, not Q.
Oh, I thought you meant more than one Shaq. Oh, all right.
No, it was
No,
in Java's
yeah,
stream, right?
my partner Kabuto mentioned it in his stream. I mean, he told me off stream before he started it, but he talked about it on stream like real quick. He's like, "Oh yeah, they're together."
Yeah.
It's lit.
So there are things happening as always. This has been another jam-packed, just empire-size episode of the Fandom Initiative. Thank you very much.
Guys.
Have a great day, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is. Again, these illustrious guests, I can't say thank you enough, honestly.
Thank you guys.
No,
Thank you for coming
for
through.
having us.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye. Happy holidays.
Same to
Enjoy
you.
the rest of your day.
Kwanzaa,
Eat some
Hanukkah.
good food. Enjoy
Kwanzaa.
the holidays of whatever you're celebrating. If you're not celebrating, still get some food. And remember to keep turning those pages because your story is not over yet. Thank you very much and enjoy.